All right, and we are live. Good evening, everybody. Hopefully you are having a fantastic evening. Um, it is the 9th of December, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with the winter times. Personally, I am just cozy at home, enjoying my winter break as per usual. So today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Instead of me casting a set or playing in a set, I'm gonna be doing the honor on behalf of GameReplays of casting a couple of submitted replays as a part of a new week replay of the week program, essentially. So the way this works is usually on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. If you go on the Game Replay site, you'll be able to see it. There's gonna be a sort of thread where you open it up to the public where you can submit your own replays. And the idea of this is to sort of get more attention towards replays that might be left in the shadows for a period of time where they might be forgotten, and to sort of give credit where credit is due when it comes to awesome replays that we see in the community. So today, I have 8 replays in particular. Do you speak Arabic? Yes, I speak Arabic, but this is a international channel that I am working with, so while I do appreciate the kind gesture, at the end of the day, I am speaking for an international audience, so I can't just be speaking Arabic only. Hello, Muhammad. So yeah, just give me 1 second to make sure my replays are in order. I already have set them up just to make sure they are not. Let me just actually do this real quick. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, hopefully music is working as well on the stream. Assume it is. Yeah, it's working. Alright, and let's just get right into the first replay. So first replay I have on the list, and it was the first one on the Game Replays thread as well, was a game between Moon Knight and Urk. And I haven't looked at any of these replays, by the way. I only clicked on maybe one just to make sure the replays were working, because I had to clear up my folder. But otherwise, these are all completely new replays to me, so I have no idea what happens in any of them. So this is going in with a blank slate, so let's start with this replay first. Alright. And here's our first game. We got Moon Knight as the red laser. And we have Urk as the blue laser. So it's a laser mirror between these two. Maybe change it to some USA music since we do have a USA mirror. Alright. So yeah. It's on cold territory. This is a relatively old, relaxed map. So you got these two severely damaged oils on the left and right side. And just make sure. Okay, my FPS is fine. I don't know why it's capping out a little bit with the FPS. So yeah. You got two oils that are pretty heavily damaged on both sides, and naturally US mirrors tend to be pretty snowbally in nature. Moon Knight's going for a 3MD dozer drop. Meanwhile, Urk is going for what looks like a 1 supply, 1 war factory. And he's gonna have a full V with 2 Rangers and 3 MDs. But interestingly, Urk is actually doing a drop as well with this build order. Normally you don't really go for a drop if you have a build order like that. You typically just want to have a really strong V that's sort of a presence in the map no matter where it is. Well, because you're splitting up your MDs quite a bit, you're gonna have a pretty delayed full V. And Erk's dozers, both of them are actually under threat. One will go down, the other hides behind a power plant. This V gets locked down immediately by the laser locks. Meanwhile, Moon Knight's collection is being delayed. Moon Knight has capture, and Urk doesn't have capture. So I'm actually very confused as to what Urk is trying to achieve with this build order. Namely because typically if you're going one supplies US like this, you don't really want to do some sort of kamikaze build order where you're just doing a drop and have nothing to follow behind it. He kind of just had the 3MD drop and really didn't do much with it. Another V gets laser locked by Moon Knight, good micro. And Moon Knight's actually got both oils, so at the moment this looks very convincing for a Moon Knight win, but this was submitted in, so I don't know how this exactly bodes past the opening minutes. Another V gets laser locked but hides behind a power plant before it gets barely above half. A lot of infantry from Urk, and this V is now going to be able to camp this war factory if he's microing in time. Yep. Good attention there. But the issue now is that Moon Knight actually doesn't have a lot of collection. So, common mistake that I kind of think a lot of people make is when they get behind an oil eco boom is they don't really expand their main supplies. So, theoretically, Moon Knight should be rich, right? Because he has 2 oils. But the problem is that he hasn't actually even built a second nook until now, and he hasn't even got a second supply. So, even though he has 2 oils and 1 supply, this basically evens out to 2 supplies versus 1 supply, where the eco lead is still there for Moon Knight. It could be a lot greater if he had just built a supply. There isn't really a reason not to build a supply either. This is just kind of a macro laziness habit I think a lot of people do. Urk's last dozer gets hunted, so now he's got 4 buildings only to work with. Moon Knight laser locks onto the Chinook. Now locks onto a V. A bit of indecisive laser locking between the Nook and the V. I think just committing to the V there is a good idea, considering Urk isn't going to be doing a lot collection-wise, so you may as well just kill off the remaining army. By the time he rebuilds, he isn't going to be able to really match the macro potential that Moon Knight has with this much eco. Having said that, 1 oil is dead, and V does go down on the left side for Moon Knight. And Urk actually has quite a lot of Vs, and 2 of them are completely full, with Rangers as well, so if he actually hunts him and dumps that in front of the War Factory, then Moon Knight is in trouble as well. I like what Urk is doing. He's not really forcing the engagement immediately. He's just waiting to reconcile his forces, just to make sure he doesn't throw away any potential win. Not sure how full these Vs are. Okay, 2 of them are pretty full. It's gonna come down to a micro battle essentially. There is a garrison that Moon Knight can take, yeah. Good call. And good call that Urk takes his own garrison. Yeah, this supply should have been taken like 3 minutes ago. If he had this supply, he would have more Vs now at this point, and then he could just overwhelm Urk by sheer numbers, but he's making the game a lot closer than it needs to be by not taking that supply sooner. He's gonna gun down this garrison because the Vs are out of position. Nice call. If he takes these garrisons, I think that would be a good play. Maybe even taking this just to limit the mobility of these Vs a little bit. And 1 V gets traded for 1 V, another V gets killed, 2 gets killed, and 3 gets killed, so not the best engagements from Moon Knight. And there's actually a elite V now as well, and that's gonna be pretty annoying. Because the vet does add up quite a bit in terms of the amount of health a V gets. He's actually got the tow missile as well, so had there been any Chinooks here, he could be able to harass them out. Or if he drives around the base, he could just be annoying in general. And both of these oils are killed, so effectively what was a lead for since almost the second minute of the game is now gone. It's actually even in terms of the eco. And Urk is actually going to be able to pressure Moon Knight's only income. And I think Moon Knight is doing a V drop to counteract this. And I think these Vs are pretty full as well. Yep. 10 MDs for sure there. One Chinook goes down, wasn't paying attention to it. He kills the barracks, he just kills the power plant, so now Urk can only make Vs. But he's got tow already, so he just needs to spam the hotkey for Humvees in his war factory, which I'm assuming is V. And it looks like a base race situation, but I don't know who wins this actually. It really does come down to the micro at the end of the day. The war factory is very low. And Moon Knight's basically got nothing else behind this. So if this fails, I think Urk might actually win this if this fails. 2 Vs go down. If he kills the war factory, then Urk just has 2 Chinooks he could fill up as a final drop, I think, here. Which I think is what he's gonna do. Yeah, he's setting up for a sort of last resort drop. I like that. Moon Knight's very far from 3-star, so I doubt he's gonna pull any Pathfinders out in time for this. He's actually left a lot of Rangers at home as well, which is kind of smart. And he has left 2 MDs, so on the off chance Moon Knight does do another V drop, this is just infantry, but if he did another V drop, he'd be fine. Moon Knight gets hunted. And it's just a Chinook. It's getting laser locked. It's gonna take quite a bit of damage. It might even go critical. No, it goes right above half. There's 1 V left, but there's 8 MDs walking behind Moon Knight's base. Honestly, I would potentially even sell the War Factory at this point, just to spam out Rangers quickly and maybe make flashbangs on one of the other ones. Because you don't... If you have at least 1 V on the map, it does not matter if you don't have a War Factory. As soon as you reach Pathfinders, if it does even go that late, you're fine. Plus, you already know he doesn't have production, so all you really need to do is hold, so you just need to spam whatever you can just to hold against this, and you basically win the game. Like, automatically. There's 2 MDs left. Urk doesn't even have capture, so even if he mass dropped Rangers, he couldn't capture the base. He'd have to gun it down manually, which would take ages with the Rangers. I don't really see how Urk loses or wins this at this stage, just because there really isn't a lot he can do. Wraith, or yeah, Moon Knight might lose this V if he's not careful. He needs to be very careful not to repair that, because if he repairs that while getting laser locked, it is just going to do a ton of damage to the War Factory. I really disagree with this play of just suiciding the V. It's 2 MDs, you're not getting threatened by this. I think at that point you can just easily walk the Rangers and tank the damage. Yeah, Urk has a bunch of Rangers and an ambulance with Hellfire drone. Like, I don't think he's gonna be able to burst down this War Factory at this stage. Yeah, there's a final Ranger drop, but I don't really see how this sort of goes at this point in Urk's favor. If he just makes a 1v, even with like that heroic Ranger and the veteran Ranger, it's not going to be able to burst down a V that easily. Moon Knight's kind of just sending his units 1 by 1. He needs to just group it up and force the Rangers into an awkward position to fight, get a better concave. I don't know why he's not making a V. Maybe he's queuing up 1, but The Rangers are killing his entire base right now. He actually still does have quite a few MDs left. Ah, there's the beat now. I'd even get an Hellfire just to clear this up quicker, because, I mean, you can't really spend money on anything else. And Moon Knight's gonna be supply hunted. I think, honestly, you just go for the base race at this point. You don't really need to fight this. If he's brought his whole army here, you know he's not able to make anything else, so you may as well just base race. And that's what Moon Knight's going for. If he stalls this army even a little bit, like, that's fine. It doesn't even matter if all of this dies. He just needs to go to the base and stall. The ambulance has a Hellfire and there's one MD. He should probably pick up that MD just to give himself a little bit of extra room and buy himself more time to gun this down. He's gonna focus the supply now, but I think the infantry kills it faster. There's a lot of veteran units here. It's very close. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, that's really unfortunate for Moon Knight. I mean, he kind of lost his base to Rangers there at the end, and there weren't even MDs if he queued up the Vs quicker. I mean, he didn't have power, but yeah. I think that was probably an avoidable loss for many measures. Even not including the not forgetting the supply for the entire game. I think you just get maybe 2 Vs there. You kite the Rangers and you're basically fine. There weren't any MDs even at the end, so I think all those sort of haphazard mistakes where he kind of threw a V into 2 MDs there at the end, as you saw, unnecessarily. That does add up a lot. And typically these matchups, the US matchups especially, they tend to be very snowbally in nature, so any one mistake can kind of end the game. Yeah, I think I don't think Urk played phenomenal. I think his build order was very strange, but I do think there were quite a few mistakes from Moon Knight that ultimately cost him that game. It's an alright replay. So let me just go through the next one. I see the chat is enjoying the World Cup at the moment. Let's see. Alright, nice. Let's see. Let me see what the next replay is, just so I go in order. So the next one is Replay of the Week. And this one's interesting in terms of the player names, because I see it on the GameReplays thread. Let's see what this is. So we got 0 Hour, or 0 Hours 2021 is the Red China Nuke. And we got Short Fuse as the orange GLA. So I think this one was sent in by nickname. I'm not sure who he's playing as, in all honesty. So I genuinely don't know what to expect from either of these players. And I don't know who Short Fuse or 0 Hours 2021 is. I think this was played, I imagine, in 2021, but I think it actually might have been played in 2020 when I looked at the replay on the GameReplays thread. So let's talk a little bit about the matchup. So Nuke versus GLA in general is pretty interesting on this map. You typically see a lot of people go for this forward supply to sort of crush any forward workers on the right side or in the middle. Short Fuse actually built his tunnels a little bit more further back, so has less of a risk from truck rush. Terrorist bugged out, unfortunately. Short fuse moved the worker preemptively, accidentally force fires the terrorist. There might have been some lag, although I'm a bit concerned about this greedy double rebel oil capture build. Typically, if you are going oil capture on this map, you don't really need to invest heavily with... Yeah, there we go. I don't know why the music is loud. There we go. You don't need to invest that heavily in terms of the capture. So you can just send one rebel to capture the oil, and then one to capture the refinery. You don't really need to capture them simultaneously. A Battlemaster does get sniped here. There is a scrap available, although I think Short Fuse just got his fake arm sealer upgraded. 0 Hours 2021 has now suddenly gone for his third supply, with mines as well. And this is actually a nice war factory. I imagine he's gonna mine this, and that's actually gonna make it a bit annoying to take in the future. Like a path through here to TT this oil. So this isn't actually bad play, by the way. This is actually kind of nice play. Short Fuse sent a very greedy rebel bike on the side of the map to try and take this oil, although Battlemaster does see that. Flamer does actually get through as well. This tech has something, I don't know what it has. It's tech RPG and a worker. Let me just increase the volume a little bit in case. There we go. Flamer walks into 2 tunnels. Though there is a very full tunnel full of RPGs. One gets burnt to a crisp. There is a tech from Short Fuse, the tech RPG from earlier. Kills one dozer. The other dozer is over here. And a lot of Battlemasters from 0 Hours 2021. The issue I think here as well, which I'm noticing, is that he's not really using his eco effectively. So he has a lot of Battlemasters and a lot of units spammed out from these 2 war factories, but he's not actually doing anything with that advantage. He's kind of just AFKing his Battlemasters here. If he just waypoints them to the supplies, he could potentially put Short Fuse even further behind economically. And that would let him build up a lead, which buys him breathing room, for example, to not get dozer hunt attempts on him. Tech RPG does land on the mines. I think there was a terrorist in there as well, because that barracks is heavily damaged. Short Fuse has what seems to be a TT here. Oh, he might get a double. Ooh. Maybe if he force fired in the middle, he would be able to get it, but I mean, you can take that for sure. Especially because he's on 1 war factory for a while. And I think that's a mistake to immediately try and go for the prop again if you just lost a war factory. Nice stomach attack from Battlemasters. The reason I'm saying that is because you're not really taking advantage of your eco lead. And there is a Battlemaster finally here. So he should have been doing this like earlier and more frequently with these sneaky Battlemasters. Because see how annoying it is to clear up even 1 Battlemaster in the supply line? He has to send the Scorpion back, wait for its rocket to reload, and then that buys him an opportunity to push forward on the map. This supply actually might go down if he chooses to, but he's actually going to TT the other war factory. I don't think this is a bad play. I think this is actually kind of good from Short Fuse. Terrorist bugs up, finally gets the kill. Yeah, I actually like that play, because if your opponent is ahead economically, usually at that point, eco damage doesn't really hurt them. The approach you kind of want to take at that point is just killing their production. You often see that a lot in late game situations where there's 2 players with a load of eco and they start focusing down, for example, arm sealers and GLA mirrors, because usually the way you win those kinds of games is you just close out your opponent's production while they have nothing to retaliate against your constant production. Nice denial of the Battlemasters there. Battlemasters are AFK here, unfortunately. Would have liked to see him send those to repair. Rebuilds his 2 war factories here, and he's building a CC behind mines. Good move, just to make sure he doesn't get those are hunted potentially, or it makes them a little more difficult at least. Herbia is getting captured even now by the Red Guard. And there's a Lotus out. And I'd like to see that Lotus just beeline straight for Orange's base. Just to try and snipe the arms either. Because what I imagine Short Fuse wants to do at this stage is potentially go for... Let's see. I imagine he'd want to go for a bus at this point. So if you stop the bus production while the palace is up, for example... I think it's a good way to sort of put the GLA even further behind, and it just buys Nuke more time. Because ultimately, there's a very nice sweet spot that Nuke has when they have early prop, that they can kind of just have free reign over the entire map. And it's not really until the GLA gets their own tech, whether that be Charmin or Battle Buses, or even a Scud Launcher in this matchup since he's a vanilla GLA, that they can't really do anything about this army. Alternative is you could also capture the barracks as soon as you see the palaces up, just to deny Jarman's production. That's another approach I also like to do. If you're not worried about buses, because you have ECM. ECM isn't being microed appropriately here, so he's actually going to lose this Overlord army, because this is a terrible fighting angle, and what looked like a really good fight for Mr. 0 Hours 2021 kind of ended up very poorly, because he didn't really micro his ECM at all, and he didn't really disengage this army when he really should have. If he continued going to the right instead of fighting this, I think he just flat out won the game. Lotus did capture this arms leader. Artillery plus carpet on the arms leader and supply. I think... Would you prefer killing the oil at this stage? I think killing the arms dealer is alright, just because you're buying yourself time from a counter attack with a bus. Plus you just denied the barracks, so you're not really gonna deal with any Jarmans. So the second round of this Overlord ECM army, no subliminal messaging, which is a bit unfortunate. I would have liked to see some subliminal messaging here. I think you can honestly engage this if he just micros one ECM to deflect the rockets. He's building Lixes actually, which isn't a bad call because there's no arms either to make any quads, and there's actually no stinger sights either. 0 Hours 2021 needs to micro his army. Yep, there we go. I don't know why he's waiting back on this. Maybe he's very scared that there is a Jarman out and he's playing it super cautious, but I think even if... You can't really anticipate a Jarman at this stage because you saw his entire base get shredded. So there's no way he could have been making a Jarman. You had vision with the Lotus, you had vision with the Ardi and Carpet. You should know at this stage that it is impossible for him to have any new units out because he had no production for a solid minute or two at this stage. So it's 4 Overlords, 4 UCMs. Lots of Scorpions, lots of RPGs. And short fuses calls of duty. Yeah, I mean at this stage, if you're the GLA and you're fighting an Overlord ECM army and the Licks simultaneously, and you don't have units prepared for it, I think you're just kind of screwed. I liked what Short Fuse was doing, in that he was denying production with the TTs. I think that was pretty cute. I think if he managed to actually secure the hunt, it's easier said than done, but if he did manage to get the hunt, I think he was in a very winnable position as well. And even though 0 Hours 2021, he won the game, he did make quite a few haphazard mistakes, I think. Like, on the left side, when he lost both his war factories, he was still making his prop, and he was floating like 10k at one point. You don't really need to be making a prop at that point, you just need to have any production. Because you need to spend your money. Because if you're not spending money with 3 supplies and an oil, I mean, what's the point of 3 supplies and an oil if you have no production? You may as well make your production buildings, make sure they're spamming, and then upgrade your tech. And he also, his early game Battlemaster micro wasn't great, and the first Overlord army was pretty poorly microed, so I do think quite a few sort of mechanical errors from the nuke. I think the GLA, in all honesty, played the mid game a bit better overall. Maybe you just needed to have a few more aggressive tunnels near the garrisons, so you could kind of abuse the garrison defense and pop in and out if there's a flamer that tries to clear it out with scorpions. But yeah, like it's interesting to see these sorts of replays because you get to kind of dissect them quite a bit in terms of like do they play well, like how can they be improved upon, and it's a learning experience at the end of the day for a lot of people. So the next replay is actually this one, which is replay of the week contender. So I tested this replay earlier just to make sure it works. It did work. I didn't really pay attention to it. I just wanted to make sure the replay itself wasn't bugged because it was grayed out. But I don't actually know what happened to this replay. So we got Mr. John Galt as the purple toxin versus Superman, the very own superhero from the comics, as the yellow tank. And it's on TD. It's actually on TD original as well, because this has the cars and the bug garrison, I think, as well here. So I'm actually wondering, is this a very old replay, or is this just a recent times replay, but they agreed to have no bugs cars? I see two barracks, so I'm actually thinking this might be one with cars in play. And yeah, the terrorists is beelining for the cars, and the truck is directly going for the car crush. So this is very, very old in terms of strategies, because you don't really see cars nowadays in plays, but back when cars were more mainstream in terms of being allowed in actual play, you very often see China going for this middle supply, or as US, they'd send a dozer to crush the cars in the middle. And oh, that's a really deadly flamer loss, but at the same time, this supply is gonna get completely denied from John Galt. And there's actually a Toxin Rebel here. Interesting choice. I actually kind of like that, because it's the same cost as the terrorist, but it's not one use, and you're completely denying the truck and forcing the flamer to respond to it. No tech upgrade from John Galt, so we don't know yet if he goes for something like Marauders or if he just forgot it. He is Tox, so he can get the GP, but you don't really see Tox Marauders that much, especially because you already have Tox Tunnels, so it seems a bit overkill. He actually went for the oil capture, that's why he built the Rebel, but he sent it to this garrison to deny the trucks and then gets spotted by the flamer. And he actually gets his oil cap crushed here. I'm not sure if that's a great idea, honestly, to go for such an aggressive build order without really any tunnels. Because it's very easy for the China to just deny a ton of the map with like these flamers, because flamers are really strong. We also see the first Marauder here. That's Toxin Shells by default since it is made by Tox. And he's dropping off RPGs here. He dropped off 2, which I kind of disagree with. That's a very lucky TT because it ran past the mines and it actually was still able to TT the War Factory despite losing the tech, which I think is still worth it for John Galt. Both these flamers are going to get gunned down by Marauders. No scrap deny attempt here. We're gonna see scrap deny attempt here. There was a Gat cannon built here, which was very bizarre because you can kind of just go around this cliff and still get the capture. So maybe you deny like a tech. Oh, okay. He just walks the Rebel a bit too close. I think if he hugged the cliff line, I think he probably could have avoided. Yeah. This supply is gonna get gunned down. Sold a bit too late, so the RPGs will get vetted up. I think. Yeah, barely. I think he has 2 Scrap 1 Marauders. If he gets another Scrap on either of the Scrap 1 Marauders, they become super deadly to deal with. Superman's actually sent a super truck to crush this Toxin Rebel. That's a pretty cute play because I think he might have had a spare truck from the supply that he pulled away. So I think that's nice sort of anticipation from Superman there. Is there a RPG in there? I would have liked to see if him drop an RPG to maybe gun down this Gat cannon. Outpost does get killed. I think he took the scrap with the tech. Flamer is gonna start flame walling because it's kind of damned at this point. Marauders are actually focusing Gat cannon as opposed to Flamer. Flamer does a lot of damage even to tanks with the firewall, so I don't know what he's doing. Rebel walks right back in. And the Marauders are actually dying to the flame wall because these Flamers are just flame walling without getting attacked back. And Mr. Superman has a... forgot the word. Propaganda center. He has a propaganda center and he's built a barracks, so he's actually going to be able to take this oil with the Black Lotus. The supply was placed pretty poorly. I didn't see that earlier. There's an Emperor that gets built, which is not a bad answer against Marauders, by the way. Marauders struggle against Emperors. Even the Scrap 2 ones without a vet, they kind of struggle as well. You need the vet and the Scrap 2 to really contest the Emperors. John Galt is going to drop off another Rebel, I'm assuming, here. He's making good use of the same tech from early game. Another truck deny comes over. I think if he sees this, he should just run right back to the tech and try and garrison it. Yeah, good play from John Galt. Good awareness. He might be able to get a scrap too if he hugs this truck and immediately takes a scrap pile as well. Gets a Vet 1 tech now. There is a Black Lotus now. Let's see if he pays attention with the tech. A truck actually gets rushed back as well to deny the Rebel, but if you have the Black Lotus capturing before the halfway point of this Rebel cap, you're just gonna outcap the Rebel anyways. That's pretty poorly microed from the tech by John Galt. He could have easily killed that power plant and just moved the tech away, and then he just circles around the supply and denies collection and probably picks off the dozer. And that would have been his last dozer too. So, huge missed opportunity for John Galt there. Now Superman has an oil. He's still on one ore factory though. Oh, he has another dozer here, but I mean, denying one supply out of 2 is pretty important as well at this stage. This oil is still uncaptured, and there are 7 Marauders prepared by John Galt. So he has more tanks than the Tank General. But the Tank General has 2 Emperors and 2 ECMs. This is a Vet 1 Battlemaster as well, which means he has not taken the Battlemaster veterancy. Which isn't a bad thing necessarily if you already have Emperors, I guess, at this stage. He's actually built a 3rd Emperor. TT on this oil. Superman is now down to 1 oil, which is the one on Tox's side of the map. And I think if you micro this well, I don't see how Superman loses this. There is a Jarman though, and he might try and sneak a cap quick with that Rebel bike. I think that's exactly what he's gonna try and do. Yep. But he needs to evac very quickly because Rebel bikes are super brittle. He actually took the Overlord back with the Lotus. I think that's a good call. Just because you don't want to give the units back. The Gat cannon is kind of messing up the targeting for the Overlord. One isn't even firing because it's far back. Vet 2 Marauder goes down. There's 4 Marauders versus 2 Emperors and a Battlemaster. I think that's a TNT. And there is no Gat cannon anymore, so these Emperors... Oh, he steals it with the Terrorist. So the Marauders are actually... Take a scrap! You have 2 scrap piles. You can easily get a double barrel Marauder. I don't know what he's doing. He should honestly send that back. He has no reason not to. A double barrel Marauder is hands down one of the strongest units in the game. Having said that though, it's not strong against aircraft, and there is a Lix that is just going to wipe out this army. Good awareness from Mr. Superman there. Transition to a Lix, knowing that John Galt has gone for more tanks than the Tank General. think we see the first quad cannon in the game actually now. And he's not microing the licks. I think if he just went here, killed the quad, and parked in front of the war factory, he won the game. I don't think there was any reason not to go for that. I think that's just hesitation purely. Maybe he didn't realize he could do it. But yeah, I think, typically speaking, quad cannons are actually really weak, like on their own. What makes them strong is when they're in numbers from like tunnel pops, or like from flanking positions. You don't really fear one quad, especially if it's unupgraded like this. He actually rushed the junk repair. And there are games where getting an early junk repair is not a bad idea, but I don't think this is one of those games. Especially if maybe he wants to do it purely because he had a ton of Marauders earlier. And that's the only other upgrade Marauders can get, but I don't think that's a good investment, honestly. I think you'd rather just get more DPS for something else. Like, even though he's transitioning to quads now, maybe you could have gotten, for example, if he wants to play it long, you could go buggy ammo if he's like bunkering with buggies. Or you could go AP bullets instead. Does he have worker shoes at least? He does. And that's, I think, artillery level 3, because he didn't spend any points on his rank 1 general powers. He's got 2 outposts escorting this Emperor as well. Loses a supply, but I think he targeted it off a little bit to try and greed the Stinger site as well. Which I think was a very bad call, just because he got nothing in the end. These are both going to rebuild. He also just got the reinforced structures, or fortified structures. Mine's actually killed the German. And this is getting scanned somehow. I don't even know how it's getting scanned. But a dozer was sniped there. And I think he... Wait, how did this get sniped and Jarman went over here? Did he not take the dozer with the Jarman? That's very strange. That is very strange. Because you get the powers GLA, you have so much more production as well. You literally get double production out of it. Semper is gonna engage with the ECM. This is a bit risky because the ECM and outposts are pretty brittle, and even though you have an ECM around, Tox RPGs tend to not really get deflected as hard as the other RPGs GLA has. There is a Jarman that gets scouted. John Galt is 3-star. No CC, so there's no instant ambush to steal an Overlord. Angry Mob gets produced now. Which isn't a bad unit against tank, by the way. It does wreck tank pretty hard. And it forces awkward positioning with the Gatling tanks and the Dragon tanks as well. Another 3 Marauders get popped out. I've never seen so many Marauders in a game. Yeah, and the Lixas just come in and swoop for the Marauders. I mean, this is kind of highlighting why Marauders aren't really used that much as well, because yeah, they're cool. You can get double scrap and suddenly solo an Emperor if you have the veterancy, but I mean, they're really underwhelming without the sort of vet and salvage that makes them good. And this is the original TD, so you have the garrison bugged out, unfortunately. And honestly, this garrison might do a lot of damage if he's not careful. Yeah, the ECMs are out of position. This Emperor will go low. He's actually retargeted the Licks as well. One is super low. Jarman almost gets soloed by a tank hunter. One quad cannon is gutting down the prop Licks. There's actually a Gatling Licks as well in the mix. Which I don't know if I agree with. Bunker Licks goes down. And now this Emperor army is walking into 2 tunnels in a palace. I'm not sure if this is exactly the greatest idea. Nobody's touched the middle, by the way. And if you're in this position where, I mean, granted, this is probably a very old replay, so a lot of the strategies are probably very unrefined. Oh, that palace is very full. He's gonna lose the Gatlicks, and he's gonna lose the Proplicks as well. And the bunker, or the Emperor gets sniped. He just needs to send a worker to claim that. And he can't really guard this Emperor either, because he's only got another Emperor, and Jarman's gonna reload vehicle sniped very soon. The outposts are actually over here. They're both empty. They're just detecting each other. There's a rebel being sent to the middle to clear out the garrisons, I'm assuming. And Superman is making not super hackers, but tank hackers. And tank hackers are not very good. I mean, you have a full middle. You don't really have any reason to be transitioning to hackers. Especially if you could have been collecting from the middle for a good while. So, even though Superman was making some super plays earlier with the sort of flamer push and the deny of the second supply, he's not making very heroic plays at this stage. An Emperor does get stolen, and I think that's a second Emperor too. So now Superman has to deal with 2 Emperors from a Tox. And there's also quads, which still don't have AP bullets, actually. Another marker gets dropped. I hear an artillery, and I'm gonna assume that's on a market. He cancels 1 marker, which is pretty smart, if he just heard an artillery, in case he's trying to cancel a scaffold. No reason not to risk it, especially if it's at 0%. It's actually on the supply again. It's level 3, so it does finish off the supply, though I don't think it normally does that. I think most of the shells, if not almost every shell, has to hit for that. So it was good hit, RNG-wise, for Superman. Superman's finally collecting off the middle as well. And there's a solid 7 hackers out for him as well. And they're all clumped up, so 1 ambush just kills his entire secondary income. Which is, each hacker is what? Oh, there's what I was talking about earlier about the Tox ambush plus vehicle snipe. There is a couple of rebels left, and even though they're rebels, they do a lot of damage with Anthrax Gamma. So this will melt the Overlord and ECM actually. Yeah, Overlord's gonna die to this. And the ECM. That's probably Vet 3 rebels in there. So yeah, what I was saying is that each hacker is what? Maybe 685? You multiply that by what? 7? You have about 5k there. So this is effectively the same cost as a nuke missile. When he could have spent that, like, just about more than half of that, getting 2 supplies in the middle, and then getting more income than the 7 hackers have gotten so far. So this is why you don't really go for hackers early unless you're maybe in. And the only reason Imp can do it is just because Imp hackers are very good collection-wise, and they're also invisible, so they tend to get away with vetting up pretty quickly. But as tank, I mean, if you had the middle, you could then transition to hackers and nukes, and then actually make these, but you're just building them in the wrong order. It doesn't make any sense to build them now. You should have gotten at least a sports supply here before considering going for hackers. And even then, I'd make like either more army, like Lix's or ground army, or I'd make just a nuke. Or you could even go MiGs at this stage. I mean, MiGs are quite good at just closing down GLA with very few tunnels, and there isn't really that many tunnels. Like, all John Galt has done is he's made Marauders, a couple quads, and now he's just starting to market spam. And even though he doesn't have a lot of markets, I mean, GLA's secondary income is just flat out better, so if it's coming down to who makes secondary income, GLA will win that 100% of the time in the long run, like if it's just a pure eco race. Which is why you need something like, let's say, a nuke or MiGs to sort of dwindle the numbers. One bunker gets taken out. Second bunker gets taken out. These quads are also supported with prop from the Emperor, which makes them even stronger. And yeah, Superman says GG. I mean, I think if Superman just got a force supply, he could have gotten a force supply like the whole game, honestly. Since he pressured John Galt in his base, he could have easily just gotten a force supply, spam a ton of army, or he could just outcamp the talks with more income. But I mean, it was cool seeing Marauders, but I don't think they were used particularly well. It was just he was spamming the unit and wasn't really making use of the scrap Marauders potential. Especially because as soon as he got a double scrap Marauder, he just lost it to Elix instantly. He was kind of greeting it out a little bit. Typically, if there's a position where you don't see a lot of ground army left from the tank, you can usually expect there's a Helix being made or even MiGs. So yeah, I don't think it was a phenomenal performance, but it was cool to watch. Can I send my replay now or is it too late? I'm just casting the 8 replays that was sent in already, so that's probably for next time. So let me just check what's the next replay. There we go. I also forgot to cycle the music. My bad, guys. There we go. Let me see. What is next? So, next up is replay number 4, where it is Tease against Kiltol on Sand Serpent. There we go. Alright, let's get into it. What do we got? We got Tease as the purple USA on the top left of Sand Scorpion, and we got Steven 56056, but it said Kiltol in the replay, so I'm just gonna say Kiltol as the Cyan Nuke. For my English viewers, if I giggle when I say Tease, just pardon me. It just means something very funny in Arabic, and I will not explain it. Let's see here. So, Kiltol is gonna go for a barracks opener, and he's got 1 supply going up. Meanwhile, Tease is going for what looks like 1 supply oil grab. So he's gonna send an MD in the middle. He's gonna try and take this oil with a ranger. Maybe this oil, and maybe 1 more for his base oil. He's actually only made 2 rangers, and he's sold the CC. He's actually dropping with the dozer. I'm curious what he's gonna do with that. And we got 4 red guard out. 1 for basically every oil except the Tease base oil. And Tease is actually dropping the dozer on the supply. I think he's just gonna make a Patriot to force a response. Not sure how I feel about that. Sometimes you can get away with this if you're doing this oil grab build where sometimes your opponent will preemptively build a flamer to clear this out. And flamers are typically pretty slow, but he hasn't even done anything with the dozer. I mean, even making a proxy barracks would have been an alright idea, I think, as well. Just because it means you can potentially keep the nuke pretty occupied in his base. Because he's going to be forced to make GATs, and GATs are relatively pricey for nuke, and they're not really particularly great. I mean, there's basically China GATs. 1 oil gets denied up here. And I think this oil will get taken by Kiltol. Having said that, Tease has taken 2 oils. And he should drop his 2nd supply immediately. And he's not doing that. He's actually making the Spire base. So, a little bit of a bad position for the Stoges to be in. You want to sort of put your builders in a position where you can kind of make use of that instant eco that you get from the oils, so that instant 1k, or 2k in this case, from the oil derricks, once you finish capturing them. Yeah, I think if he had the dozer here, he could have instantly built a 2nd supply, and then maybe he could have even just started spamming out from 2 war factories even. This I really disagree with though. I don't see why he's instantly building this strat. I mean, a supply takes 10 seconds to build, 15 seconds to build. You're just gonna get way more income over time, and when you have that search and destroy, you're not gonna be fighting with maybe just a couple of Vs, you're gonna be fighting with a lot of Vs as well. If you have that second supply collecting. Granted, sometimes you can get away with it as US just because you can mine off of the piles and the dock individually. That's 4 collection points. But there isn't really any reason to sort of slow down your own collection. You could even argue that you can place a supply here and start long distance collecting this. Especially because Tease is gonna have one of the garrisons here. There is a lone Battlemaster here. Battlemaster can't really harass the Chinooks. So I'm guessing he's just trying to look for a V to slam onto or a dozer. Kiltol actually has a prop. He has a pretty substantial Overlord army, but Tease has a significant amount of Vs, and this is always a bad position for nuke in general because even though you have this really deadly force, the Vs just need to outmaneuver you and you can kind of even be forced into a base trade situation like this. And China actually doesn't really do that well in base trade, especially against US, because you can airlift the Chinook with the dozer with the Chinook. I mean, a V does go down to a Battlemaster. These Chinooks, or these MDs are not being microed. Having said that, Tease is just kind of killing what he can in Kiltol's base. Kiltol is gonna lose both dozers actually. Ambulance is gonna get crushed into a Crusader husk. Needs to evac this immediately. And Kiltol actually has not scaffolded anywhere on the map, so at any point he could just lose this entire game purely off of no scaffolds. He has spy drones and he sees the mines, so hopefully Tease doesn't run into the mines. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. He captured the supply center. Oh, that changes the game completely. Because now he would have just flat out lost if he lost his entire base, but he captured the supply here. Don't tell me he captures this strat. Oh, what is this, man? I mean, Tease literally won this game if he just killed the buildings and didn't let them get captured. Oh, that's just poor play, honestly. I mean, there isn't much else to be said. I mean, literally, his mistake costed him the game. Like, a very simple mistake of like not selling your building when it's getting captured. Flat out lost in the game. There's one scaffold here left, but I mean, it's still winnable if he airlifts the Vs, which is what he's doing, which is very smart. He's losing the MD to the mines. Oh, he needs to be very careful with that Chinook. The Chinook can proc the mines as well, so. Oh, come on, please, my girl, no. Oh, that's disappointing. That's really disappointing, actually. I mean, Kiltol's truck micro is not doing him a great service at this point. He's got one truck now. He's dropping the Vs to kill the US buildings. He does have search and destroy deployed as well. But I think he needs to redeploy it for his units to actually get the buff. There is one elite MD. Aw, don't tell me it comes down to this MD. Oh no. He's microing for his life. And I think it literally comes down to that MD. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure Kiltol saw the scaffold as well, but he just wasn't paying attention. He sees it now. Oh, I think he might. Wow. Okay. Oh, don't lose the B if it has MDs in it. Just evac it. Just evac it, please. Oh, that is a real shame. Oh, man. I mean, there are like 3 different points where both of these players should have like instant lost, so Kiltol should have lost from the get-go, even before any of this scaffold hunting shenanigans, because he didn't scaffold anywhere on the map, but he captured the US building, so it meant the base trade wasn't fatal. Tease should have lost because the Lotus scouted out the last scaffold, but Kiltol just didn't see it. And then Kiltol almost won, and Tease, or sorry, Kiltol lost because his truck micro didn't come in clutch to sort of crush the MDs that were killing his supply, even though they were AFK and just targeting down the building. It's very scrappy. I mean, that's what I have to say. I mean, the matchup itself, you don't really expect Nuke to win it, but I think there were some pretty like big errors just from a strategic and mechanical point of view, I think, that kind of made the game way too close than it should have been. So yeah, scrappy game, but scrappy games are pretty fun to watch. Yeah, Tease could have gone into the hut. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. So what's the next replay here? So now we're on the 5th replay, which is GNX versus Logica Tank is the title. I'm gonna assume Tank is somewhere involved. Maybe it's a tank mirror? It is a tank mirror. Okay, cool. So probably some more familiar names to some of you. We got Logica as the pink tank general, and GNX is the red tank general. So I mean, there's quite a few ways you can play tank on this map in particular, in tank mirrors. You can go for this forward supply and build a aggressive war factory, which I think is what GNX and Logica are both doing. You can play it a bit more safe. You can take these back supplies. Usually, it ends up being 2 war factories, no matter what. Very rarely you might see an oil grab from someone like Size, if he's going, let's say, a war factory here and a barracks with this back one, but I wouldn't recommend doing that. I just recommend sticking with the 2 war factories since that's generally consistent. Logica is actually going for a triple supply opener, which I think is quite greedy. I'm not really sure if I agree with this. Especially because the problem with triple supply opener like this is if you shut down this position very early, and GNX has a forward war factory, so he could very well do that, then you're putting yourself at very big risk to potentially just flat out losing, because you lose your only war factory and you don't really have any units to reinforce from the back. Both of these guys actually led with an outpost, and they're essentially mirroring each other right now. Although, even though Logica has the greedier start, I actually prefer his position right now because GNX hasn't actually punished it. He's bunkering down, which is the complete opposite of what you want to do in this situation. Yeah, now Logica's actually built some red guards, and I think he's setting up for an oil grab. He's sending, he's garrisoned one here, and he's sending the other for an oil grab. GNX has a Battlemaster and a Gat cannon. Logica has the same plus an outpost. I mean, this army will very easily get cleared up with the evacs. He did actually evac one tank under here earlier, so it does mean that outpost is deceptively like weak, I guess is the way to put it. The building does get down to critical health, so the tank hunter pops out. Logica, I think, is queued up the capture upgrade, and he's building a prop over there. He's also dropped his second war factory, and he can even drop a third one, because tank can support 3 war factories on this map once you have the 3 supplies. I think even the 3 supplies alone is enough to support it. We got 3 Battlemasters and a Gat, and this is near a collection point from Logica's production, so I don't think he can really break through with this army. He'd probably have more luck going on the far left or the far right at this stage, which is being bunkered by Logica. Logica is playing this quite well, given the fact that he went for a very greedy build order in tank mirrors, typically. But I think he's gotten away with it just off the sheer fact that GNX really hasn't done a good job in terms of punishing him. Yeah, GNX is also now on 3 supplies, but we have to keep in mind that Logica was on 3 supplies from the very start, so inevitably, once Logica researches autoloaders, he's actually going to have a numbers lead as opposed to GNX. And that can be pretty big. Let's see. I like what Logica's doing as well. He's lining up his units individually just to manually make a really good concave for when he engages this army. And GNX is kind of doing the same now, but the issue is that I think Logica is very close to autoloaders based off the fact he's starting to approach. I don't know how close to GNX is. GNX actually just researched it before Logica even, so it's a very small window where if he attacks now, he could actually have an advantage over this army, but I mean, I don't think that GNX recognized that, and maybe he sees it now. Yeah, now Logica has autoloaders, and now this is really bad because he has autoloaders and a number advantage, so you have to be very careful. I like what Logica's doing. He's bringing a dozer to build a speaker tower to support his units, just to make it even better. Tank Hunter gets picked up on the side, and this is the tank engagement. And Logica has a vastly superior concave. Lotus is capturing while there's a Gat cannon nearby. Logica pays attention, he just needs to move that and intercept the Lotus, but Gat cannon is out of position. Logica's kind of attack moving a bit too much here. He's actually got not the best concave and ends up with him losing quite a few units of his own. Troop Crawler is in the mix now. I actually really like this Troop Crawler because it can tank a lot of the tank shells from the Battlemasters, and it's essentially wasted DPS, which gives your Battlemasters more time to retaliate and deal damage back. Let's see. Both of them are 4-star now. Logica already has a CC. GNX is building one. One thing in tank mirrors in particular is oftentimes the good tank players will build their CC pretty early in anticipation of a big fight. So once they hit rank 3 instantly, they can instantly use artillery, use mine drop, use tank drop. It just means you're able to dish out more damage earlier, and oftentimes that can make or break a matchup sometimes. Troop Crawler is detecting the mines. There's a bit of a Lotus war around the artillery platforms. Logica has a Gat cannon though, so if he moves forward and goes for over here, he could actually kill this Lotus, but he's unaware of the Lotus at the moment. Lots of tank hunters, and that's the 3rd war factory being mixed in. So instead of a speaker tower, he's made a bunker, which is actually still very good, honestly. Those bunkers are very tough to break if there's an army nearby as tank in general. And an artillery was used. Fortunately, it did miss. I think both of these guys have the radar upgrade on the CCs, so... Oh, Logica doesn't. So GNX has radar, but Logica actually doesn't. Yeah, optimistic artillery. I think at this point it's just better to go for buildings because you don't necessarily have to kill the army to win at this stage. You can just kind of wait out the long game. This is a very bad concave for GNX. He lost quite a lot there. And not all of his units are attacking while Logica's are. Though having said that, GNX does just have a higher numbers game at this point. So he is able to trade into this army. He will win barely, but I don't know if I prefer GNX's position or Logica. It's kind of even. It depends on how many get hit by the CMP. A lot of units get hit by the MP. Nice mine drop from GNX. Mines the supplies. Makes it annoying for the truck collection. Well, GNX has effectively lost 10 units to this EMP. I think that's his own counter EMP. Nice EMP. And I think that's a carpet follow-up. Carpet unfortunately takes a turn for the left. Logica's carpet is not nearly as effective as GNX's. Kills basically the majority of the EMP'd army, but Logica's only gets 0 units. This bunker is very annoying to break, and I like how Logica positioned it pretty far to the right, so even if this artillery platform gets taken, I think it's out of range. Logica's made a nuke, which I think is a smart idea at this stage. Instead of a nuke, GNX has opted for a bunkerlix. I mean, both of these are very good. There's pros and cons to both the licks versus the nuke. Nuke means you are probably going to win the longer game, because every 6 minutes you basically have an area wipe. Whereas the licks is always a threat if you don't have enough Gatling cannons, but given both these guys have oils still alive and they're collecting... Oh, Logica's actually on 1 truck here. Bit of a mistake there. I think it's very easy to reinforce with Gats. Well, GNX has a higher numbers game right now. Logica might be also researching the uranium shells from the nuke missile. But having said that, there is not a lot stopping this army. Lix is very low, but it's going to get sniped by this sneak gat. Good positioning from Logica. Lotus gets remade from GNX. Both of these guys have nationalism now. And I think that is a mine drop. Yeah. EMP should still be on cooldown at this stage. Because using the Lotus defensively to vehicle hack. There's no Gatling cannons actually, so he can really disable all these vehicles. CM is being used to push tank hunters, but it gets too close to the rockets actually. Or can deflect them. And GNX is going for a very optimistic oil or war factory capture, but gets denied by the tank army. And GNX is kind of attack moving everything directly from the war factory instead of grouping things up, which is a bit of a blunder because, I mean, Logica's not in a particularly good position, but he's kind of throwing away his lead by just funneling in units like this. Oh, that could be a good carpet. I was on the war factory in the prop. If that was on the army, that would have been sick, but I don't think GNX anticipated a counter push at this stage. Logica is using his own carpet on artillery. I think that might be going for the oil, the artillery at least. Carpet's gonna kill the supply, and the oil goes down. And this is where you would prefer the nuke in this position. Because now Logica has a reason to play the long game, because he has an oil, and GNX doesn't. And every 4 minutes, or every 6 minutes, this nuke is gonna fire, and it's gonna basically take out some buildings, some units from GNX. Though having said that, GNX is gonna lose this nuke. This is a good steal. It's 5k down the drain. 2.5k if he sells it, but basically loses the opportunity of firing that nuke, which is big. It also loses the oil to level 3 artillery. And CC gets captured actually right after, so there's only 1 dozer out. Or 2 dozers, sorry. There's no outpost out yet, but... Oh. I don't know what detected. Oh, the outpost just got produced, okay. Logica's pushing into a bunker. Oh, man. Yeah, the bunker is super deadly for this reason. It melts the Battle Masters. And I think both of these guys should have EMP soon, but the difference is that GNX has a CC, whereas Logica's still building his. Lotus gets found, finally. One thing I do have to say is that Logica is being very consistent with this line formation with the Battlemasters. It's very easy to be complacent at this stage of the game and just attack move with your army. But Logica is being very conscious of his units positioning, which is good. I don't know if there's another Lix out. It doesn't look like it. And GNX is limited to one supply. And it's 5.3k, so as soon as this 5.3k dries up, as well as this little crate, GNX is out of money. But keep in mind, Logica's in the same position as well, so Logica has 9k. I think he's saving that up either for the option to go hackers or for a nuke, or both, honestly. I mean, the good news is that Logica doesn't have to worry that much about GNX in the long run, because GNX is kind of limited and he's just focusing on army. But having said that, the way these tank mirrors go is that any general power can swing the game tide, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Having said that though, a lot of Battlemasters get weakened by this mine drop. I think that's a counter EMP as well. Yeah, and that's gonna catch everything from the army. That's the whole army disabled. Is he gonna follow with the carpet? He is. But there's a carpet as well from Logica. Aww. Yeah, both armies get completely zeroed. The EMP'd armies, at least. There is a pretty substantial amount of GNX's army still alive. Loses quite the ECM and get to mines. And Logica still has the money, by the way. Keep that in mind. So, yeah, so he's going for the hacker route. Okay. I think it's okay. Just because, I mean, you don't really have that many alternatives. He doesn't need the internet center because I don't think he's going to be making that many hackers yet. So maybe he just wants to make a bunch of, like, 4 more hackers, or 3 more hackers, sorry. Rather than the internet center. So there's the first one. He's actually also opting for a Lix. I think at this stage you also can sell one of the war factories, because you just want to have that instant cash available. So carpet and EMP are on cooldown for both of these guys. Lotus gets found by GNX and he's sending a Gat to chase it. GNX has a pretty big Battlemaster army, but it's kind of going in triple file. And Logica has a way better formation, so he's gonna end up paying the price with 1 Battlemaster. And that's a mine drop. Good awareness from Logica. Artillery is used from Logica. And looks like that's going on the war factory and supply there. I mean, yeah, this is the stage of tank mirror where it really depends on the general power usage. Oh, it's actually on the prop. I do like that because had GNX thought about hackers, now he doesn't really have the option to go for hackers at this stage. Because he would be severely far behind if he tried to start hacker spam at this stage. And GNX is getting punished for being out of position here. This cliff is very annoying to traverse if you want to take out this artillery platform, and GNX is just losing more units. But there is a really good carpet, and that kills the whole army, barring one Battlemaster that gets vehicle hacked. And Logica has a Helix and a couple Gats, and he actually has nothing else. There's a counter carpet. But Logica was very optimistic with it, so he doesn't really get anything with it. The EMP should be off cooldown in a minute or 2, so he does have another shot. He's actually vehicle hacking the Gatling tank, but he doesn't need to because there was only 1 Gatling that was severely low anyways. Load of Battlemasters get chipped at, and that's 5 Battlemasters and a Gatling cleared. And GNX has evac'd a bunch of RPGs as well. He might be preparing a final Lix. GNX is going for his own artillery. I think it's on the prop as well. Oh, very greedy Lotus. That's crucial to lose at this stage because now Logica can play a lot more freely with his defensive Gat near his CC. If there is any licks coming out. Trucks are pretty useless at this stage, so I just gun them down to deny potential XP. You could also use them to scout around the map if you just scatter them, so if we look at GNX's vision, it's kind of impaired, although I wouldn't do it in this case because there is a licks around and you'd just be giving the tank hunters and the licks veterancy. So I just kill them at this stage if I was GNX. Just to deny potential veterancy for Logica's units. And Logica has his own truck migration going on, which is getting repaired on the airfield. It's a bit of a slow game at this point, although theoretically in the long run Logica should win this because he has 2 hackers and GNX has 0. Yeah, GNX is pumping out his last couple units. I don't know what he just spent it on. GNX is also quite dry on Gats. He just made a 3rd Gat. But yeah, GNX is in an awkward spot where he needs to make something happen, but he doesn't really have the ability to do it easily. He kind of needs to wait on general powers. This Lotus will bump into the outpost, so he might be able to kill that Lotus, but Logica is very fast in terms of reacting to it. Play from Logica. Carpet is being used. I think there was a war factory here and Logica sold it preemptively, so good foresight from him. He's saving a bunch of cash and essentially halved his loss. The airfield is especially important to be able to rebuild because it means you can heal the licks. He actually doesn't have a supply, so he can't rebuild an airfield. He could sell 2 power plants if he really wants to make the airfield after he rebuilds the supply. Carpet is being sent out. I'm assuming it's on the war factory and power plant. Tank Hunter is scouting. Logica is doing what I was suggesting, which is using these trucks as scouts. So if you look at it, yeah, Logica actually has quite a bit of vision as well. And he's killed the power plant and the war factory. So yeah, you can afford to do this if you're not against the licks. But given that there is a licks out for Logica, GNX really can't do the same. Mine's in front of the war factory, but Battlemaster gets pulled from the war factory's rear, so good micro and awareness from Logica. And now GNX is relegated to a command center. He has enough to rebuild a dozer, and he has a dozer to repair the CC if it gets focused by general powers. But I mean, it really comes down to GNX's support powers in terms of can he close out the game. Because if he doesn't close out the game in the next cycle of general powers, then he's probably done. Because these hackers will eventually start kicking in and give Logica the ability to make 1 or 2 extra units, which when you have so few units at this stage, it makes such a big difference. That might be the EMP, and that disables the whole ground army of GNX minus the tank hunters. And I think that's, yeah, the death sentence right there. There's a bunch of trucks at the oil position, but yeah. GNX's whole ground army is gone. That's a counter EMP. He's gonna try and snipe the licks. Doesn't disable anything. He just reapplies the EMP. And yeah, this is very much game over, I think. I don't know if Logica realizes it. He's looking around the base to see what's left. Once he realizes there's only this little army left, I mean, it's very easy to win at that stage by just QQA. There's a artillery use on the command center, but there is a dozer out, so he can't repair the damage. Maybe Logica thought there was no dozer and he then scouted with the Lotus. And yeah, that's Logica GG. Let's see what's the next one. The next one is Air versus Air. Logica GNX again. Alright, let's see this. And it's on Imminent Victory, which is just natural threats, but snow and flip. So, as the replay title suggests, it's Logica against GNX, Air Mirror. And this is on Imminent Victory, which is you got a base oil for each player on the left side, and oil that's direct center on the far right, and you got these middle crates. Similar style to natural threats, except a more open middle and the sides are inverse. So, in terms of build orders, you typically see a lot of barracks openers where you have an MD drop from an Air Force, sometimes with a dozer, sometimes with a Ranger even, and you either do a 2 supply behind it or you follow it up with an oil grab. So there's 3 MDs and a dozer from GNX, whereas Logica is going for 4 MDs, I think. Yeah, 4 MDs. And Logica's actually going very greedy. He's doing oil capture, I think, or maybe that's defensive Rangers. Plus the drop of his own. And no airfield, so Logica doesn't even have an airfield out yet. I mean, you can sometimes do this in some games if you're able to stay on top of the Raptors. He has 4 MDs, so he has enough to stay on top of the Raptors. GNX being very smart with the PDL, using it to lock the laser lock. Logica is not microing this Nook, and GNX crushes an MD and kills a Nook from Logica. So far this is a really bad start. I don't know if the Raptor got denied, unfortunately. I wasn't paying attention. I don't see any damage on there, so I'm assuming no. Does Logica have a oil grab? I don't see one, but yeah, I mean, these MDs are denying the Raptor from being made, because they would instantly kill the Raptor if it's made. But having said that, GNX is still collecting pretty comfortably on 2 supplies for the most part. And finally the MDs are cleared up. Now this Raptor should focus on sniping the dozer, honestly. It should just focus on stun locking the dozers. So what I would do is I'd split fire 2 rockets on this dozer, keep this around, wait until he makes another dozer, and then just constantly stun lock him. Use the other Raptors to, after this one, to focus on the Chinooks, and that's exactly what GNX is doing, which is exactly what I like. He even kills the airfield scaffold, which is 800. So if GNX keeps doing that, Logica has 0 way of winning. Logica actually went for the oil grab, but his oil grab has been super delayed because of the initial drop from GNX. Yeah, if I was to go for a drop, I don't think you can really afford to delay the airfield here. Unless you're maybe going for a barracks in the Air Force's base. That's like the only situation I can think of. Or if you're doing like an all-in build with a war factory, but that's a very niche build in general. And GNX is plopping down a 3rd supply. Raptors are looking for dozers. He's actually focusing the power. Okay, he has a Raptor on the way. If he only had 2, sure, but he's spamming Raps at this point. And, I mean, he's not paying attention to this. The airfield blocks most of it. GNX has an oil. GNX has an elite ranger gunning down this Vet 0 ranger. So we'll be able to contest this oil soon. Logica is sneaking this oil. GNX has a lot of Raptors. I mean, you should just, at this point, pair up 4 Raptors to gun down the airfield, and that leftover Raptor, I would just use it to kill dozers again. Because there's no reason to be giving Logica all of this breathing room, honestly. If you're this far ahead. He has 0 Raptors and you have 6. Like, this is unwinnable for Logica, I would say, in this position. One Raptor gets wasted, he could have used that to kill 2 dozers. Or even deny this dozer and secure his oil grab. That would have been actually very good for the rim. War Factor gets made in front of a garrison, but GNX has flashbangs. Nice Nice pickup, actually. I wouldn't get flashbangs in Logica's position, honestly. But, yeah. I mean, you're pretty far ahead, so you can kind of afford it just to clear up the garrisons. Oil gets gunned down. And I mean, all of these airfields should not have gone up. Like, you could have easily denied these if you just focused the dozers and, like, consistently. It is kind of annoying at one point to have to constantly focus on the dozers, like, while you're microing elsewhere, but, I mean, it's basically impossible to lose in that position if you're attentive. There is a Comanche out, chasing a V. Next, I think overkilled a little bit. I think there's some leftover ammo in these Raptors. Yeah, there is. You only need 3 for the War Factory. Tow missile out for GNX. Building gets killed. Logica actually is even eco, minus this middle oil, but he's still behind on the Raptor count. But I mean, you could still turn this around if you get a good hit on the airfield as well. But it's a hard ask at this point to go for that. I think Logica's gonna gun down this oil, which is pretty safe. GNX is locking down the War Factor again. But it gets blocked by the Chinook, and the dozer was repairing it when it was turning around again. Kills the supply successfully though. GNX is almost 3-star, so they'll have Instant Spectre. You can even use a Ranger Paradrop next to the airfield to camp out the Raptors. Force something like a Comanche or defensive Rangers or a dozer to deny it. Rangers gun down the oil, but it's pretty low. Raptors are focusing the middle supply, I like that. GNX is finishing off this right-hand oil. I think it's a wasted opportunity. You could probably argue that you have a ton of Rangers lying around. You may as well just send all your Rangers to cap. Given if you capture from 5 different spots around the oil, you're probably not going to deny it and force Logica to deny his own oil. Logica doesn't have flashbangs, so Rangers will take quite a bit of AoE. I think he denied a couple of the PDL rockets with his own wraps. A bit of overkill from GNX. He could have killed both of these, but I think he used like 4 on the supply and 2 on the War Factory. Even if he used the heroic Raptor on with the 2, he probably could have almost killed it, but usually there's the Spectre. Not sure what GNX got for his 3rd point. Maybe he got snipers. Oh, but this is what I was talking about earlier. Yeah, those Raptor snipes are game winning if you get them. Suddenly Logica has a Raptor lead. When at the start of the game he was 6 versus 0 Raptors. I mean, getting a lead like that is game winning. Logica, I don't know if he's paying attention to his airfield. He is. He's using the Raps defensively for PDL. Good awareness. He's gonna try and gun this down. That's super bad. Because now the next time these Raps land, which they actually don't have a place to land because GNX lost his airfield to a Spectre. And now Logica's 8 loaded Raptors versus 4 empty Raptors. Raptors actually failed to kill the War Factory. I don't know what happened there. Logica's making a very wonky supply for collecting the middle. He gets the supply off, which is pretty crucial. GNX could force a response to this by trying to capture it. I don't know why he's garrisoning the missiles, the laser upgrade. The missile upgrade, sorry, for the Raptors, which will let him one-shot the Vs, so lets him just pick off 5 Vs with the 5 Raps as opposed to like 2 Vs with 5 Raps. Loses a full airfield. Bunch of pilots are propped out of the Raptors. And these Raps are, I think, are hunting a supply or the War Factory. He could maybe even kill the airfield, given he has vet, but some of the rockets get blocked. I think I saw an A-10 fly by. If Logica is quick, he can use a Chinook or a Raptor to block the missiles with PDO. He tried to go for the power plant, but it was behind a CC, so the rockets crashed onto the CC, which is unfortunate. GNX's aggression is getting cleared up. He just kind of lost all his Vs. GNX will kill an airfield, but there were no wraps on it. Spectre hits the war factory. I think the airfield might have been a better target there, honestly. I wouldn't worry that much about the Vs at this stage. Especially since it's only one war factory. Very nice PDL block from GNX. Saves that middle supply, which is pretty important actually. And yeah, Spectre kills an airfield and 2 Raptors on it. GNX has hold the line and he's sent the carpet. I think on the newly made war factory. Or no, he's going for the airfield. Kills an airfield. That's pretty good. And he's got hold the line because hold the line takes a bit longer to kill. Bit of a blunder from Logica. Shoots at the supply, but the Chinooks are above it, so the A-10 rockets get completely denied. The Strat actually lives, which is pretty important, because the Vs could just charge into the base if he wants to. So GNX is doing what I think is safer, just collecting the middle, and Logica calls it GG. So I think GNX, I mean, his early game was way better. Like, he had a phenomenal start. Logica had a very dire start, so I think given the start, I think Logica played superbly well to try and bring it back, but I think the build order is fundamentally flawed, where if you're not really able to defend your own base as well while you're doing a drop, then you end up risking a situation like that where it's just whoever, if GNX is able to defend his base while your base is getting threatened, then you're kind of dead at that stage. March Smart, I wouldn't say that about Logica. I mean, he's a very respectable player in terms of skill, so it seems a bit strange to kind of put that sort of ultimatum as like the only 2 possibilities. I would appreciate if we kind of not disrespect players that I'm casting, just for my own personal request. So let's see, we got 2 more replays left, and I might play a set after this, depending on if anyone is around, so stick tuned for that. So the next game is replay number 7, which is called Wow, What's a Game versus Vivid. And I'm gonna assume Vivid's one of the players. The other player is Mad Joker, which is Firelord. So let's see here. We got Laser Cyan on the top right versus Ryan Rit, which is Vivid. I checked out the date on this replay out of curiosity, and I think it is from 2020. So this is a relatively old replay, given this is 2 years ago. So it's GLA versus Laser on Canyon of the Dead. I think this is the old version as well of Canyon, because the garrison normally is here, I think. Yeah, this is a very old version of... This is the first version of Canyon. So this is the version where you can build a tunnel here even, I think, and camp out US's supply very easily. So Firelord's going for this supply here and this supply here, whereas Vivid's going for, I think, just 4 tunnels, fake arms theater, terrorists on both supplies. So pretty standard build order from both of these guys. You want to go for this supply sometimes because you have more collection points for your Chinooks, which means you can collect a little bit faster. And in the older version of Canyon, it's very easy to camp out this position with 1 quad and taking this garrison while also having a tunnel here, so you don't want to risk that sometimes. first V is out, it's empty, and Vivid has a tech RPG. And this V should easily go down, especially because there's no Hellfire drone popped out yet. Vivid's playing a little bit cautious in case reinforcements arrive or the Hellfire drone pops out. And 1V goes down for Firelord. 1MD as well, and I'm assuming a second one might go down here too. 2 RPGs will hit this V, which will damage it a little. Vivid is tunneling, but he hasn't scouted the Laser Patriot yet, so he actually doesn't know what's going on there. Vivid's gonna send a tech now. I think he's gonna try and hunt the Stozer maybe. Oh. A bit indecisive with the tech. Let's see. And Flemic saying, Chris bunkering? No way. Yeah, who would have guessed? What makes Xcal so good? Whenever I see his POV, I feel like I can also do what he's doing, but that's not the case in my real game. I mean, you have to understand it's not just a matter of knowing what to do sometimes. It's sort of multifactorial in terms of how you execute the strategies, in terms of when you do a certain strategy, when you adapt to a change in strategy. There's a lot of factors that come into RTS play in general that I don't think a lot of people necessarily give credit for, and they oftentimes oversimplify the game, especially people who may complain about the game saying like, oh, had I done XYZ I would have won the game, when in reality it's maybe sometimes it's that simple, but a lot of the times you have to consider you're playing against another opponent, and depending on that skill level of that other opponent, they could just very easily sort of counterplay around that. So it's easy to say a lot of things in hindsight is what I'm trying to say, but 2020 hindsight doesn't always sort of reflect easily in the actual game. Firelord is trying to do something very smart or cheeky, which is he's used the Chinook to airlift a couple of rangers from some destroyed buildings from his war factory to go for an oil grab. Now, if Vivid scouted the Chinook flying around, he should anticipate that there is probably an oil grab that's trying to be snuck, but given that this is also an older replay, this is probably not as on form as I think most people would see Vivid nowadays. He didn't really see the Chinook, and he's actually let Firelord sneak in 2 oils, which is actually going to put him economically even. But having said that, Vivid still does the same terrifying tech RPG push that he does nowadays, 2 years ago even. I remembered when I got into 0 Hour online back in maybe 2017, 2018, I would see Vivid actually on the ZHLADDER. I don't think I'd ever take a game from Vivid. This is before Vivid was expert. But this is like very old. The tech RPG army does actually get cleared up with pretty minimal losses, in all honesty. I'm very surprised how that whole army didn't really kill anything. So, good defensive play from Firelord. Smart, it's not just about clan or whatever. I think it's very stupid to say that. It's also just about respecting players. I mean, I don't like trash talking players on my streams, especially if I'm just doing a replay cast, focusing on sort of the replay itself and the game. It doesn't really make sense to sort of attack people's characters. I think it's just very strange to sort of assume that. But less about stream chat and more about the game. Firelord is clearing out this position. What's also nice, by the way, about collecting from here earlier is a lot of the times the mid game is pretty tough for the US, because if GLA starts getting a ton of tunnels here and they camp out this position, well, GLA gets a ton of money. But if you collect this expansion, this third supply point pretty early on, you can actually kind of play the mid game a bit more passive because you just have to collect from your base, which is a lot easier than collecting from over here. No, Apex, it's not even like that. Like, I would rather just focus on... That's different. You're comparing actual set gameplay to a replay cast. This is just me casting players. This is not the same thing. And yeah, so it looks like the TNT got through over here. I think he airlifted the dozer with the Chinook, which is smart. There's a couple Vs in Vivid's base. He doesn't actually have a market yet, and I don't know how many buggies he's on. He's mainly on techs as well, actually, so this could be a bit tough for Vivid. Yeah, he's running the techs into Vs, I think. Yeah, now he's getting buggies. Oh yeah, you can actually kind of see the contrast compared to how Vivid plays nowadays. Like, a lot of people would say like, oh, Vivid noob, like, what is this? Why is he playing like a noob? But I think people need to recognize as well that players sort of develop their play over time. Like, if I showed you how I played in 2015, I would look like an absolute noob to most people, I'd say. Relative to how I play nowadays, at least. I don't think I'm numero uno 24/7, but I don't think I play as bad as I used to. Bees are getting picked apart, and there's actually a tech pincer alongside the buggy snipes. Jarman's clearing up some of these MDs that are evac'd. I like the fact that Vivid is doing multiple things with multiple attack groups here. It's a characteristic of this play that makes him very formidable. And yeah, now Firelord's actually collecting mainly from the base, but he actually still has quite a bit of income here to still pick up. That's about 10k worth of cash that he could pick up. Firelord's got the advanced training as well. Very underrated upgrade. It's very good for Vs because Vs scale up like crazy with veterancy. Vivid's pulling a couple of workers to build some proxy tunnels. Oh, A10 went on the tunnel. Sorry for missing that. Not sure how full these Vs are actually from Firelord. He does need to remake an ambo. I'm not sure if I agree with this dual war factory spam at this stage. Against buggies and quads, it's a bit tough to pull out Toby spam like this. If I was him, I'd actually make an airfield probably. Maybe make one Raptor or one Comanche. And you can, if you're perfect with a split fire, you can use one Raptor to kill 2 buggies without any upgrades. Which I think is something that's pretty underrated in terms of value. Because, I mean, this second war factory isn't really doing much in all honesty. Yeah, he's getting a couple more Vs out quicker, but he's not really gonna make a pushing play anytime soon, I'd say. I think if you're Firelord, yeah, you maybe want to push around top part of the map, if anything. I don't know what his vision looks like. He's not got a lot of vision, which tells me he's not really spamming the spy drone around, given he has a CC for a while. So I think he needs to be scouting this position at some point, just to see what's going on there. This is the old version of Canyon with cars. Yeah, there's a car right there. Firelord's engaging this army. Although... he actually does it successfully, because these are just quads. I don't know if he has AP bullets even. No AP rockets, to say the least. No worker shoes. Very late worker shoes. He actually got buggy ammo before the worker shoot, or... yeah, before worker shoes. He got buggy ammo before worker shoes. You don't really see that a lot. I think Boyka does that sometimes. Personally, I disagree with getting buggy ammo before worker shoes ever. The only time I do it is worker shoes is absolutely useless, and or you absolutely need buggy ammo for like a defense. Those situations are pretty rare in general. It's a pretty full bus there. I'm not sure if Jarman is inside. It is inside. I just Control H then went to the bus. Which actually reminds me, I don't think I've seen a Burton at all this game from Firelord. Which would have been pretty helpful against the buggies. Like over here, when he was popping buggies for this tunnel, he could have probably sniped a couple of them. Dude's actually got worker migration going on. No worker shoes still, but at this point, you don't really need the worker shoes because this supply... well, actually, there's quite a bit. You can argue for it just because it's so good. Income quicker. And this is actually a rare situation where we see GLA is economically behind in secondary eco. And especially because these Chinooks are still able to sneak in these collections on the crates. Vivid's only got 2 markets, 3 coming. Whereas Firelord has 3 drop zones and 4 coming. No supply lines, which is a huge mistake. That's a huge, huge mistake. Because it also gives you 60 extra cash for free on the Chinooks, so you could have had a lot more income. Maybe even a whole drop zone extra as a result. TNT on this oil takes it out. This oil is taken out as well. And Firelord's just spamming Patriots. I personally would go for fire bases here, I think, just because it's less power cost, and if you do want to bunker the long run, I think it's just better to spam fire bases, so the power you need to make with a particle will not be as expensive as when you do go for a particle plus Patriots, because each Patriot is 5 power, so it's about a power plant essentially. And yeah, if your power goes down like this, or Vivid sends the Saboteur, then you basically have these useless defenses. Whereas with the fire bases, at least you'll have them actively running even while they're low power. Also, fire base has slightly higher range than Laser Patriot outside of the Patriot relay. So you might be able to sneak in a buggy kill, especially because this terrain is annoying to attack a defense into, or attack into a defense. There's 2 fake markets. Typically, you usually only build 1 fake market at a time, unless he's upgrading one immediately. Another fake market. Maybe he's making them also to bait out A10, but I wouldn't spam fake markets typically like that. There is a TNT being prepared. I think he's gonna try and TNT the drop zones, but Firelord is staying on top of it. And I mean, at this point, I wouldn't even make this drop zone. I'd save all my cash to spend on a particle. Maybe even sell 1 war factory. TNT is coming in, and it's gonna kill the fire base for sure, I think. No, it focuses the drop zone, which is not a bad trade, in all honesty. It still gets the fire base. I mean, yeah, I don't think bunkering is a bad play at this point, but I don't think he's bunkering as effectively as he can. Like, if he had a Burton to deal with the buggies, or even a Raptor, he approaches from like an angle, maybe even while the cargo plane is coming in, he could actually be a real menace to break. He's got an Avenger out even. I mean, Avengers are they're not that great against the GLA in all honesty. Even in mass, because you will always be able to spam more buggies typically than Avengers. I mean, in this case, Vivid doesn't have a lot of markets, so it's not like he's spamming buggies, but I still think it's better to just invest that money into an airfield, into a Raptor for buggy defense, or into a Burton, or save it even for a particle, because I mean, if you get a particle, if he had a particle maybe 5 minutes ago and he fired it already, he could have killed Palace in one market, which would have put him even more further economically ahead. But going for this like mass greed while you're not really harassing your opponent back doesn't really do much in the long run. It just puts you at higher risk for these sorts of plays where GLA has this sort of unstoppable army where you kind of have to outmaneuver it of buggies and quads. Because GLA will always have this threat. So your #1 priority should be minimizing the amount of time where you're having to deal with this. The easiest way you can do that is by either picking off the buggies or quads, and you can do that with either V's or Raps and Burton respectively. And you can also do that by putting GLA on a timer in the particle. If you're letting GLA constantly mess around like this, you're just giving GLA more opportunities to come back into the game, which is basically throwing away your lead. Vivid actually captured the reinforcement pad, so it's dropping Scorpions. Who knows, maybe in the late, if this goes super late, maybe he gets a bunch of Scorpions and he Scorpion pops into drop zone. But I doubt that will happen. And yeah, these buggies, now you're at a position where you don't really have an answer for this buggy quad push. And once a Jarman comes out, this MD laser lock cute stuff isn't going to be working as effectively. And then Vivid's just going to slow siege his base. And then what happens? I mean, he's going to start losing the income that he was making a ton of. A10 is going for a market. I don't know if he has enough quads to intercept it. So he will probably kill a market. Yeah. Market goes down. Bunch of workers around that supply. And yeah, I think this has a Jarman inside of it. It does, yeah. So once this Jarman bus gets into position with the buggies, I mean, Firelord actually has no answer for this. I mean, when you're playing a defensive game of US against GLA, you're already playing a very tight rope, so you have to be very on point in terms of how you play defense. But if you're fumbling like this a little bit, where you're just greeting and you're not really pressuring GLA, then you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot a little bit here. Because you're giving GLA so much time to recover back into the game with markets. Yeah, if he had a particle, maybe this would have been like his second wave where his particle deals damage. He kills a couple markets as well behind this. Suddenly, this army Vivid has is his last army he can effectively work with for a good period of time. And then that buys Firelord more time for another particle hit, and even probably gets him quick to 5-star. So there's a lot of nuances when it comes to this build that Firelord is trying to pull off. That he's not really making it work as effectively as he could. And as I said earlier, I mean, this second War Factory has been incredibly useless. Like, he's not really making use of it. He's still producing from one War Factory for the most part. I haven't seen this War Factory door open in a while. So, okay, now he's making units. Maybe he's making Avengers here? Yeah, he is. Yeah, I would honestly just sell this War Factory like ages ago and focus on making a particle ASAP, or getting an airfield instead of this. Yeah, Vivid's eventually gonna recover, I think, out of this. Because I do think this is just a game of Firelord slowly dwindling and holding on barely because Vivid's not committing. He's getting the Laser Crusaders. He should get the composite armor as well, but I think he's pretty broke at this stage, given his income comes in burst intervals with the drop zones. And yeah, he's gonna lose a loaded V. That's quite a lot. David might commit a little bit on the Avenger. And yeah, I mean, Avengers are not amazing against GLA. They're pretty underwhelming once you have buggy numbers. Yeah, the repop comes in, kills another V. One V is at critical. Does he have AP bullets? No AP bullets. No junk repair, no AP rockets, so missing the upgrades to make his units a little bit stronger from Vivid. He's got 3 Scorpions now for some pad. A repop from the middle. Angle is a bit awkward to attack from, so Vivid doesn't push it. Which he doesn't have to, in all honesty. I mean, Vivid also has 5-star, so he has radar scan soon, which I think he's researching, I'm assuming. You can scan around the base, look for a drop zone, pop, kill the units, maybe even force out a general power to deal collateral damage. Yeah, I think... Oh, and that is an actual Anthrax bomb, because it's not coming from the reinforced pad. Although... I don't know if it's gonna achieve a lot. Kills 3 Rangers. He might kill that V if he doesn't insta-fire. Yeah, he doesn't insta-fire. But yeah. This is what I was talking about. I mean, now US has nothing to really stop this army. US doesn't really have a reliable army or counter against quad boogies. Especially since it's laser too, so there's no tomahawks to counter-snipe these from behind buildings. So yeah. I think Firelord made an okay call to play it defensive, but I think he played it pretty subpar in terms of the defense. I think if he just got particles earlier, instead of more drop zones, he probably could have won easily from the position he was at. Because he was in a very good position in the mid-game. But he just didn't really make use of that economic lead. Crusader goes down. I just checked, he didn't have composite armor still. No AP bullets, no AP rockets. That is a leaflet. Disables all the quads, and I'm assuming a fuel air bomb is coming as a follow-up. Vivid's posturing the Vs defensively. Spectre actually guns down a line of buggies. So he's used the Spectre defensively. I probably would have used fuel air bomb there, because I would have used Spectre for markets, but I think at this point, Vivid's caught up too far to Firelord. So it's a bit unfortunate, because I did genuinely think Firelord had a good chance of winning, but he didn't really make the best decisions in mid-game. Vivid has a bunch of Scorpions from the reinforcement pad, he's just throwing them away. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like, these Scorpions are very unlikely gonna get anything done. And they probably take up tunnel space, if anything. I'm gonna fast forward this a bit, because I do think this is kind of over. And I think it's just kind of delaying the inevitable. There was actually a nice fuel air bomb there. But I think even if you have good GP strikes at this point, Vivid has to literally stop using his keyboard for 15 minutes to make it easy. Finally, a particle comes up from Firelord, but this is way too late into the game. Like, he should have had this 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago. Like, he could have had this so long ago. I'm gonna fast forward again, because it is just kind of waiting at this point for general powers. Firelord is sending a Chinook to scout. Buggies get countered by Vs, but a V gets sniped in return. Chinook gets sniped by a quad pop. I think Vivid has a full tunnel. Yeah, he does. A load of spy drones are overlapped in vision as well, which I really dislike. I don't think he's spreading out his spy drones as effectively as he could. I mean, Vivid has so many markets, it's only a matter of time till he starts making scuds. Flashbang clears an RPG. Another Spectre hits a market. A10, I'm assuming on a market. It is. Preemptive force fire on the ambulance, which is smart. I mean, I think Firelord might actually be able to get this particle off, which is very surprising. Another Anthrax is coming. That might be on the retreat path of the bees. And there's no ambulance anymore. I think I got sniped by the buggies earlier. So these bees are cut off. He might have to use this particle defensively. Buggy snipe a power plant, which puts the particle at low power as well. Really nice leap lift. He's got good general powers, but it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things at this stage. Particle should have instant fired, honestly. Maybe he was contemplating using it against the army. Kills 2 markets. I mean, I would have used that on the palace, honestly. At this stage, if you're still trying to go for it, I would have used it on the palace and the market spot, just to deny further markets and potential scud. I mean, another thing as well is that I think even a second particle is needed. I still don't understand why he's making more drop zones. Like, in a pure eco game, GLA will always come out on top. You shouldn't even be trying to out-eco Vivid at this point. What you should be focusing on is having enough of a presence with particle cannon pressure that you force him to attack you. Otherwise, he will end up being behind. You don't out-eco GLA by making more money than them. You out-eco GLA by killing their money. That's how you go about it, usually. It's taking this reinforcement pad now. A10 plans a hit on a market. I mean, this... I do not see how Firelord comes back at this. Fuel air bomb. It's a pretty small AoE, so it's not going to kill all the quads, but it does kill the sneak and some quads. A couple of quads get nuked. No wonder it's taking forever to kill the Chinooks. They don't have AP bullets still. I mean, it's inexcusable to not have the upgrade to the Sprinkler Vivid. I mean, AP bullet quads would demolish these bees in close range like this, but given they don't have AP bullets, it's actually pretty easy to clear up for the bees. And buggies are picking off a fire base, bees are chasing, but they end up getting retaliated on. Vivid's made a third arms dealer here as well, because he's got enough income to support it, I assume. Market 2 and Market 3 gets killed. We reach the 4th one. A couple of these get picked off. I mean, yeah, these are the type of games where it's kind of a downward spiral for US if you're not actively pressuring GLA. You're just constantly pressing defense on defense on defense without making anything behind it. I mean, eco is not really gonna pressure the GLA particles. A lot of these are getting picked off here at this stage. I mean, I'm just waiting for the first Scud Storm, honestly. I'm surprised there's not been a Scud. But at the same time, you can just kind of outspam with sheer numbers as well. Another A10 on another market, Spectre on another market. Anthrax, no ambulance this time, so the retreat path is completely cut off. Bees have to commit, and a lot of them go red. Avenger might get sniped as well in this. It's a pretty hefty loss. Yeah, bees are committing in, but No upgrades from Vivid still for the AP rocker ammo. I mean, yeah, maybe the speed push kills a few buildings, but what about all the markets on the bottom side of the map? Another particle fires. I mean, I think this is just also a matter of Vivid not properly closing out the game. Like, in this position, if you're so far ahead with markets, you just make one scud and US is kind of doomed once the scud hits. It's actually buying time for Firelord to make another market. Or make another particle. And this is actually now substantial pressure, because he has 2 particles. Market goes down, another market goes down. A lot of V's in the middle. He's got his arms dealers and a palace, so he can rebuild his buggies. I'm surprised there has not been a single scud out yet. Yeah, there really is no scuds. Weekly hits a couple quads and RPGs, not much else though. More fire bases and drop zones being dropped down. Yeah. Oh! That was a nice Moab. I wish I didn't fast forward that. 3 markets are gonna die here, and I think honestly the US is gonna recover. Because Vivid is doing the exact same mistake, which is he's not pressuring Firelord because of this pure greed income. And Vivid's lost more than Firelord has, ultimately. Another Anthrax bomb. Denies the retreat path. These are committing a little bit far forward, so he's gonna lose quite a few. Another particle is ready. What is that hitting? Market and 2 markets and palace, I'm assuming. Yeah. One Rambo is preemptively firing, and A10 might get intercepted here. No, it fires the rockets in time. Another market goes down. I mean, 1 Scud Storm from Vivid and this is over. Keep that in mind. So I'm very surprised there's no Scuds. Buggies are out of position, and he has no palace, so he can't rebuild the buggies immediately. Keep that in mind. And yeah, this is a 48-minute game that, in all honesty, should have ended at minute 15. I mean, yeah, if you make slip-ups like that, you can end up prologuing games very unnecessarily. I think the strategy was okay, but I think the execution was a bit poor from Firelord, at least, at the mid-game. And Vivid's mid-game, his early game was really good. His mid-game was also kind of good, but once it started approaching the late game, it wasn't really doing that well. But we gotta keep in mind, this is like a free play from 2020. So, this is like 2 years ago. So both of these guys probably play a bit better compared to how they used to play. He's gonna get quite a few markets here. He misses this market, unfortunately, so he's only gonna get 2 when he could have got a 3rd. Firelord's floating 9k. He should just make a 3rd particle and start spamming particles at this point. He can easily close out the game with particle spam. I don't know why he's floating this much. I mean, it's easy to float as US because your cash comes in bursts, but he shouldn't be doing shit like this with laser turrets. He should be making more particles. Vivid's made 2 palaces, but the palaces are pretty close, so he could actually link 1 particle to both of these. Another A10, another Spectre on markets. There's a push here. I think he killed a few buggies with his Moab, but he doesn't really have much else. No upgrades still from Vivid. Firelord is fully upgraded at this point. There's a Anthrax bomb on the cliff, actually. And Vivid calls it GG. I mean, in all honesty, Vivid should have won this. This was not. I mean, I don't think I think the mid game was pretty poorly played on both parts, which ended up prolonging the game like crazy. Like I definitely think Vivid very easily could have closed this out if he capitalized on the fact Firelord didn't make any particles with his defensive setup. At the same time, Firelord should have probably won this game, given Vivid wasn't able to break. And he could have probably won it if he just made one particle really early. But yeah, I mean, 2 years ago, so people play very different compared to 2 years ago. So this is the final replay for the cast. It's 2 hours and 15 into the cast. So if you're still around, goddamn, that's pretty impressive. Last one's gonna be between Boyka and Roll on Snowy Drought. I have no clue what to expect on this. And this is Roll as the orange China versus Boyka as the orange China, or as the red China. So it's actually China Mirror. China Mirror is, you can kind of play it similarly to Tank, where you can either go this forward supply or this double supply in the back just to play it safe. Boyka usually likes to play aggro in general, so he is going for the forward supply, and Boyka and Roll is playing it a little more safe. And he's going for these back supplies. Let me start up the music again. There we go. So, I don't know if this is an earlier version of Snowy Drought. No, there's only I think there's a V1 where the terrain is different, but I think this is the one we know. This is really poor supply from Boyka though, I will say. I don't know why. There's literally no reason to make a supply this far. Boyka's going to War Factory. Roll's going to War Factory. I mean, this build is fine except for the really subpar supply placement. I mean, no reason to place it that far back. I think that's just the laziness thing from Boyka, if anything. Okay. So Boyka leads with a Flamer and an Outpost. And we see a Flamer and Outpost. Yeah, Flamer Outpost from both players. Boyka's sending his Dozer to his back supply to set up for a quick third. There's a Battlemaster and a Gatling. You don't see a Battlemaster that often actually this early on in a China Mirror, especially on an open map like this. Boyka trades outpost shells with Roll. Roll will lose his tank hunters first, and the Flamer is in position. But this is the risk you run with also going this forward supply, which is that if you get this forward supply and there's a Flamer behind these piles, it's very annoying to stop, especially if you have reinforcements from Roll immediately. Even the spot is also annoying because you have to go all the way around to comfortably deal with the Flamer. And yeah, Roll is putting pressure on that supply. Boyka has gotten a third. Outpost is gonna be able to get in position to deny the Flamer. So Boyka will start collecting on 3. Roll is also placing a very subpar supply. I don't know why both the supplies are pretty far. Though it's not as far as Boyka's. Boyka's is way too far. Whereas with Roll, there's a tiny bit of gap. He actually might have the trucks correct themselves once the second truck pops up. There's a Battlemaster on the far left, just guarding from any casual Flamer. Although, it's kind of risky to do that in China Mirror because you oftentimes spam outposts, so if it's like an outpost alone or an outpost Flamer, then this flank is pretty vulnerable as well. Flamer is flame walling from the middle. I'd posture around the supply piles just because it's a little bit easier. That supply placement saved the supply from burning down? No, it did not. Because if he places a supply here, he's not going to take nearly as much damage as well. Like, Flame Wall doesn't really deal damage from far away. Even if the building is here, you're not going to damage the supply that much. And if you're placing it here, I mean, yes, you're maybe hypothetically making sure your supply never gets flamed down, but if you have a flamer here anyways, there's no collection anyway, so it's redundant. You're just collecting slower for no reason, so during the time where you wouldn't have a flamer flaming that down, you're not gonna be collecting efficiently. And if there is a flamer there, well, you're not gonna be collecting anyways. It doesn't really make a difference. Boyka's sending a flamer on the far right. Like this Gatling cannon from Roll, because it's actually quite good against most of Vanilla China's main ground army. It's pretty resistant to the tank hunter rockets from outposts, and it guns down Gatling tanks and dragons pretty quickly. It even guns down the outposts somewhat quickly too. And obviously if there's any infantry that pop out, they'll die to the chain cannons pretty quick. There is an oil grab from Lotus. Both Lotuses. Boyka's is slightly slower. I like that this outpost is here, just postured in case of a Lotus from Roll. A couple of ECMs out as well. Although only one Gatling, so this army is actually very weak in terms of damage. There is a prop out, obviously, for both players. Difference is that there's an earlier airfield for Roll. Both have teched into new cannons. There's the first Overlord. Flamer gets locked down by the Gatling tanks. No chain guns yet. Really good hit from the new cannon of Roll. Kills a new cannon, an ECM and a Gat. No chain guns either from Mr. Boyka. A lot of ECMs out, so this Overlord's actually going to get shut down pretty quickly. And there isn't actually a lot of damage units in Boyka's army. His army is mainly of ECMs. Big new cannon shot kills 2 Gats and an ECM. And the Overlord is just going to get chipped at while it's fully disabled. And you also run the risk of giving a lot of XP. Roll also gets a phenomenal shot on 2 of his own outposts. And the follow-up damage from the radiation is pretty neat. Kills 4 of his own tank hunters. He's got 2 new cannons. One will get disabled. The other will fire onto a ECM that disables the first one. Ooh, if he didn't undeploy, he could have instantly fired and got quite a good shot there. Lotus did get killed from Roll. So now Boyka's probably going to posture to take over this artillery platform. MiGs are out. They have napalm. No chain guns still. No chain guns still. Airfield is out for Boyka. We're also approaching that stage where players might consider a nuke. It's a bit risky to capture this, given it's close to the stage where both players are nearly 3-star, because killing this gives about 200 experience. I think it's 201 specifically. So by giving that much XP instantly, I mean 200 experience is the equivalent of a Vet 2 Battlemaster from tank or a War Factory, so that can be a big boost in terms of getting a head start in terms of the 3-star promotions. Yeah, both players should consider getting chain guns given it's getting to the stage of MiGs. And I honestly would have killed this in Roll's position, because this is just free XP that you're getting yourself closer to 3-star. And if you're able to get 3-star before your other opponent does, especially in a China mirror like this, that can make a big difference. Because sometimes you can even use your 3-star promotions to catapult yourself to 4-star. Roll is posturing very aggressively with this nuke cannon, given his ground army is pretty far back. Gatling cannon does go down, but he's going to clear this garrison instantly. Forces an evac. Clears the garrison ultimately, without losing, or with the cost of the flamer. Garrison gets taken to red by the residual flame damage. Yeah, there's the nuke I was talking about. So when you're in a position like this where it's just kind of a stalemate, you just start teching up into a nuke at that point. Both players posturing an outpost around the oil. Roll's doing it now, so he might be able to intercept this Lotus, which will actually give him more XP closer to 3-star. He has to be careful though, if they're all in guard mode, he might firestorm his own oil. Yeah, he should only use 1 or 2 MiGs. 1 is all that's needed, yeah. Gives him about 60 XP. Give or take. Overcharges the power plant to save some time on the nuke timer while building a power plant. Very smart move. Boyka sends a lone Gat to maybe try and bait out the air fire from the Gatling so he doesn't get intercepted. 1 MiG does get taken out. MiG armor on Boyka. MiG armor on Roll. Roll forgot to uncharge his power plant, so he ends up losing a power plant. Doesn't make a difference in terms of power, but it is something you shouldn't lose. He's actually nuke spamming quite aggressively. I feel like this nuke is a bit too far forward. That was a really good hit, by the way. Pops open 3 outposts and kills quite a bit, and Boyka is actually very close to 3-star himself. No chain gun still. No chain gun still. This outpost, or this nuke cannon, is going to get taken out. There's 2 nukes now for each player. Boyka's will have a nuke that fires first though. And a lot of MiGs just kind of get whipped by Roll. I don't know what happened there, but he kind of just threw away what was a pretty even situation and now made it a lot tougher because Boyka is actually 3-star now before he is. He does need 1 more kill to get 3-star, but yeah, I mean, Boyka should use his general powers immediately as well. Just get the cooldown going while he's focusing down whatever he can. I don't know if I'd go for the oil here because there is a lot of Gatlings on the map, so maybe I'd go for this supply with a carpet or even carpet the middle. And artillery, maybe the prop or an airfield. I don't know why Boyka has not used the general promotion yet. Boyka is trying to slow push a little bit. There's the carpet. I think he was trying to bait out a defensive response. See, this is why the carpet had to land on the army, because if you try to do anything in the base, you're probably going to get intercepted by these Gats. Nuke cannon kills a nuke cannon. Oh, there was a nuke cannon shot here as well that killed 2 Gats from Roll's nuke cannon, which was nice. Roll's messing up the MiGs a little bit here. There's just a casual Gat getting a bunch of work done there. And Roll's base is actually quite exposed from the right. So if Boyka starts spamming out units, I like what Boyka's doing as well. He's got the nuclear tank engines. So these overlords are actually going to be relatively mobile, which means you can actually sort of mix it in with the main army without having to have overlords lag behind a lot. I'd like to see the same from Roll as well if possible, although I don't think Roll's route is necessarily bad here, going this heavy on MiGs approach. The issue is that Roll did lose a lot of MiGs at one point. Artillery level 1 actually. Oh right, it's because they both went to nuke cannon, so they actually don't have a lot. That carpet actually tanked a lot of hits from the MiGs, even created an aerial firestorm, but ultimately it does manage to get through, so Boyka will lose an oil. And even though he's got an internet center doesn't really kick in for a while in terms of paying off, so I economically, I'd say Roll is still ahead because put I'd put this internet center at pretty low value at this stage. After a couple minutes, once the hackers start vetting up, then the internet center will be out-ecoing the oil, but yeah, it's only once it starts going into the tens with heroic hackers that we'll really see that. Firestorm on this army here is gonna severely weaken these overlords, even though these overlords are upgraded as well. They're not really gonna be achieving a lot, especially because they're quite low and there's a couple tank hunters gunning them down. Overlords survive, which is very important because these are very pricey units. You don't want to be losing these. MiGs have come back for the follow-up. No Firestorm, thanks to the ECM. Nice positioning of the ECM there from Boyka. Saves 2 overlords because he blocked off a Firestorm. Artillery platform kills a nuke cannon for free. There's the first nuke, and it's directly on the oil. Smart move. So now both these players have 0 oils. It's just gonna be the internet center as the only external income. And Boyka's making a smart move, focusing the powers. I don't know if he's had to overcharge, but it looks like Roll's built a lot of power plants in excess. There's another nuke. He's actually hit it on the internet center. Ooh. I think there is a way to make it at a certain angle where one nuke does kill an internet center. Very slowly the radiation is damaging the internet center, I think. I'm not sure. I forget if... I know toxin damages it. I forget if radiation does as well. Oh, but there is a carpet which does clear up the hackers. So there goes all the hackers. Boyka's basically spent 6k on money and has gotten 2k in return, probably. So could Boyka have made more hackers? Or, sorry, not more hackers, more army. Maybe a 3rd airfield instead of that hacker center? Probably. Was it bad to go any hackers? No, but over-investing into hackers can end up biting you in the ass if you're not careful. Because you end up not having enough to defend yourself sometimes. Another nuke gets fired, and I think it's on the airfields. Yeah, on the airfields at a power plant. Load of MiGs come in. Gets a good firestorm on the overlords. One overlord is very low. The Gatling overlord does get taken out. MiGs in response from Boyka. Kills 2 outposts. I will say, Roll is picking it up in terms of the slack. I think that was another overcharged power plant that self-destructed because he wasn't paying attention. Yeah, Roll needs to stop doing that. This power plant I think is also overcharging. I'm not sure. Maybe he just disabled it. MiG's focusing the overlord while he's disabling the ECM. Ooh, that's a big pick-off. Not to mention overlords give a lot of XP, but Boyka has one very big advantage over Roll, which is that he's kind of caught him down by his pants. This power snipe game. He might be able to kill an airfield in another power. Oh, he gets nothing. He could have honestly probably killed at least the power plant if he put it here. Bad nuke position. I think the war factory is not really a big factor at this stage. Good hit, kills a bunch of trucks, supply, and airfield. 2 outposts get taken out from Roll. There's an artillery on the MiGs, on the airfield, sorry. And our artillery sent back from Roll. This is actually quite a nice game. Although the early game was kind of slow and I criticized Boyka over the supply, I do think it's shaping up into a nice cat and mouse chase for a bit of a ping pong match at this point. Boyka does have 2 hackers. Roll has an internet center. Next nuke is probably gonna go on this. It's 2 power plants and the internet center. He has to double overcharge just to sustain power for the nukes. Also, this is a general thing. If you're playing in these sorts of nuke stalemates, you don't want to be bunching up your power plants like this. You want to be spacing out your power plants as much as possible. Even if you're getting faster power uptime because of it, it's not worth it. If it means losing multiple power plants in one go. Like, this is 3 power plants in one go. When one nuke hits here, Roll is going to be on low power for such a long time. Also, I like what Boyka is doing. He's posturing his Lotus here. Sells the Gat cannon to save up on power. He's posturing the Lotus so that way, when the MiGs are used, he can probably steal the CC or the nuke. Both of those are really good targets. Roll is sending out his MiGs. Snipes another power plant. Bunker might barely pick up a kill. Doesn't. Boyka's back on low power. Boyka should be using his Lotus now. He's running a risk of also the CC deploying mines and suddenly scouting the Lotus because it gets detected. And that is an EMP, which will freeze the general powers and the nuke timer. It doesn't freeze the timer of the general powers, but it just means you can't use the general powers. There is a Gat focusing the carpet in the middle. If that was chain guns, that actually might have been able to kill it. And Boyka's killed 3 power plants with 1 carpet. Exactly what I said would happen. And now Roll is 23 power units behind. CC gets captured. Roll did use a carpet to kill the Overlord, but he's gonna kill his own hackers at the cost of it. Kills most of his hackers. Overlord dies. Nuke is gonna get taken out. Gets saved by the MiGs, but even then, Roll is on fumes because at this point all Boyka needs to do is just hit the power plants and it's kind of game over. This is a nice game though, I will say. Yep, that's gonna go on the airfield and the power plant, I'm assuming. There goes all the MiGs and the power plant. Roll's sending out a flamer across map. He might be able to sneak a flame wall. Mines deployed in the middle. Does Roll notice? I think he did notice, but he runs into quite a few mines, which puts the flamer at critical health still. Does flame wall the mines, so might be able to still sneak by. Repair bay is still actually alive, so it's giving the flamers some regeneration. Another nuke gets fired. Kills off the supply and war factory. This or the tank mirror were the best? Yeah, I agree, nickname. I think this is probably slightly better than the tank mirror, in my own humble opinion, but I need to see how this game ends. That opinion might change based off the next couple minutes. CC is finally rebuilt for Roll, so now he has general powers. Carpet should be off cooldown as well as artillery. And there is a couple of flamers. There's not a lot of units. I think that's a defensive EMP. If that EMP misses, he's under a bit of threat. Completely misses. And that artillery is going for a power plant, I think. Good call. Try to take Boyka off power. And he is low power. And there's 3 black napalm flamers. And even if he builds a battle master, black napalm flamers are no joke. These things are very deadly to deal with. And Roll still has a nuke counting down, by the way. Carpet misses on every single flamer. CC is under threat. Boyka has a nuke in 7 seconds. Roll in 30. One Gat goes down. Flamer is getting chipped at from behind. Flamer finishes off a War Factory. This nuke might go down. The nuke that's ready to fire is on the right. I think he's gonna focus the nuke with his own nuke. Oh, he needed to back out the Flamer because the nuke has an AoE. Oh, he's focused down the CC actually and killed the Dozer. There is a nuke from Roll. Oh. Nuke's down the power plant. Now it's a nuke versus nuke. Actually, it's nuke versus CC. Boyka's Dozer hunted. And that, I think, is... It depends on how this goes, but... I think Roll is barely gonna win it. Bind drop misses the outpost. Oh no. This outpost is too low to really fend this off. If he flame walls, this outpost is very likely going to pop. Hackers get killed, gives instant vet 2 for the Flamer. And yeah, this outpost is gonna get cracked open. And Boyka only has 3 tank hunters against a vet 2 Flamer. Carpet comes in to nail the snow. Why is he not finishing the power? If he finishes off the power, he has literally no way to win. It's just 3 tank hunters against the Flamer, but yeah. Alright, wow. That was very close. Yeah, this was very close. I think Dummy actually cast this as well at some point. This was a good Chinamer. And yeah, like Nickname said, I think this is probably the best replay. Yeah, you're right, Tease. Dummy casted this game before. I'm remembering it now as well. Yeah, I think overall, I think this is probably the best game from the 8 that was sent in. I'd have to sort of deliberate a little bit with the game replay staff on how this exactly gets awarded and whatnot, but from my personal opinion, I think this was the best game so far. I mean, yeah, there were a couple mistakes here and there, like the supply in the beginning from Boyka. We saw the 3rd supply wasn't really placed well, and I think there was a couple of mistakes from Roll when it came to his MiG engagements in the mid-game. He lost quite a few to just some idle gats laying around, but this was a very good game. One of my best games from Roll. Yeah, I think I agree. This was quite a good game, Roll. Like, good on you. This was a good performance. And I do think, I don't know if I'd say this is a golden replay. But I would say this is a good replay. Like, this is definitely a good replay. Maybe a silver replay. Who knows? That grading will eventually come in due time. I'm glad the last game was quite good because I think a lot of people got exhausted by the Canyon game. Now I'm just gonna see for a couple seconds on Discord to see if there is anyone around to play a set. So just bear with me for a couple moments here. Let's see. Is there anyone around? See a freestyler in the ladder server. Might be able to get some games against him. Let's see. Alright, nice. We got a freestyler. Let me just adjust my game settings. Just change the map to something else real quick. Do they look for games on Discord nowadays? It's pretty fragmented in terms of where you can find games. There's like Game Ranger, there's Aurora, but typically speaking, from experience, usually you find the most competitive games around on Discord or in tournaments that are arranged on GameReplays or from various tourney sponsors external to GameReplays. Thank you for stream, Marika, and thank you for not flaming me hard. No problem, ZH0 2021. Alright. Should be fun to play a couple games. Got a demo.
Yes, I will go. This is hard work. Cannot we live in peace? I will
Demo
work
Air.
with you.
It's a bit tough.
I will work. I will try. Do not hurt me. Can I have some shoes? I'm just a peasant. This hammer is heavy. I'm hungry.
Upgrade complete.
What do you want me? Do not hurt me. I will do the best I can. Okay, I will work. Yes, this is hard work.
They will fear us. We have a network.
Do not hurt me. I will do the best I can. Okay, I will work.
Bit worried if it does go for Comanches.
Can I have some shoes? I will get as much as I can.
They will fear us.
I will work.
Quick, ready yourself.
Do not hurt me.
Quick, ready yourself.
I will work.
I'll make it happen.
I will obey the work. This is hard work.
Aw.
There is a lot of work.
There is a video.
I'm hungry.
Quick,
What do you want with me?
I love the crowd. Let's get in the fight.
A warrior has fallen.
It is a V.
We are going. Find me a flashlight. Yes, I know. Find me a flashlight. Yes, I know.
Okay. Not terrible.
Quick, ready yourself.
Okay, I will work. Cannot we live in peace?
Upgrade complete.
What?
I'm just a peasant.
Ready for war. The Titans will protect
What do you
us.
want with me?
Our courage will be seen by all. What do you want? Yes, I know. We are going. Stand ready. The high orders shall reign. Hang on. Load it.
It is quite a few.
Okay, I will work. I will work.
We fear nothing. Where should we take what we need? We are going.
I will work.
A warrior has fallen.
It's still run. Our homes are in terror. Out of my vehicle!
I'm hungry. Building construction.
It's still run. We take what we need. Hang on. Our courage will be seen by all.
Okay, I will obey. What do you want?
Prepare to fight. Is wrong.
Cannot we live in peace?
Ah. There we go. I messed up.
Okay, I will work.
It's still run.
What do you want with me?
Let us fight. None shall stand in our path.
A warrior has fallen.
Is wrong. No cost.
It's actually got quite a few wraps.
Cannot we live in peace? I
I think I did mess this up pretty heavily though. Because you can kill this. He has an airfield. I think my units are dead. Yeah, it's G. I think I need that middle supply pretty soon. It was a big mistake not getting a second arms. Where is Excal? Excal is away in Belgium. He's just enjoying his time. Can always go with this. There's some pretty strong echo going on. Let me just double check OBS.
What's the story? Have a job for me?
Should be fixed.
What's the story?
I think I know what the issue was.
Want to make some improvements? That one's on the job. Clocked in. Let's build. Clocked in the foundation. Any more projects? Clocked in. Have a job for me?
What's the mission, sir? Special Forces here.
What's the story?
What's the mission, sir? Search and destroy.
Clocked in. All finished. Want to make some improvements?
Need
Lay
a
in the
delivery
foundation.
something for everyone.
Yeah.
What's the mission, sir?
Getting to
Loaded
work.
with U.S. quality.
Need a point, man?
Something for
What's the
everyone.
mission, sir? Army's elite. Ready for action. What's the mission, sir? Special forces here. What's the mission, sir?
Serving our country.
There's a tunnel, I
Clocked
think,
in.
on this side.
Loud
Upgrade
and clear.
What's the mission,
Oh,
sir?
signing for this. Something for everyone.
Got my missile launcher
What's the
right
mission,
here.
sir?
Lay in the
Something
foundation.
for everyone.
Ah, what the hell?
Blades in
Unit
motion.
lost.
Want to make some
Keep it
improvements?
safe. Okay, fellas, you ready?
Clocked in. Loud and clear.
Something for everyone. Everyone
Ready
out.
for action.
Have a job for me?
Army's elite. Meet your new Special
owner.
forces here. Need a point, man? Special forces here.
Want to make some
I
improvements?
got the goods.
Sounds
Keep
good.
the supplies rolling.
Got
Establishing
my
supply
missile
room.
story.
launcher right
Getting
here.
busy.
I want to blow something
Yeah,
up.
sounds good. Getting to
Got my
work.
missile launcher right here.
Clocked in. Want to make some
Keep it
improvements?
safe.
Need a point, man?
Oh, signing for this.
Clocked in. What's the story?
Yeah, we can fire through the window.
Clocked in. Any more
I got
projects?
this. Building is ours. Building is ours. Always prepared. Special forces here.
Got my missile launcher. I want to blow something up. Laser guidance
Unit
ready.
lost.
Enabling laser sights.
What's the mission, sir?
Got my missile
Always
launcher right
prepared.
here.
Special forces here.
Got my missile launcher
Ready for
right
action.
here.
It's not paying
What's the
attention.
mission, sir?
The building is
Raiden,
captured.
Army's elite. Special forces
Keep
here.
it safe.
What's the mission, sir? Always
New
prepared.
construction?
Unit lost.
Bring on the
Let's
scaffolding.
pop some tanks.
Army's
Right
elite.
here.
Need a point, man? Special forces here. Need a
Got my
point, man?
missile
Let's
launcher
take the
right
building.
here.
Yeah, going up.
Got my missile launcher right here.
Army's elite. Entering the structure.
Get a free supply.
That one's
Got my
done.
missile launcher right here. Let me launch one, huh? Got my missile launcher right
Any
here.
more
Sure thing.
projects? Lay in the foundation.
Serving our country.
Yeah,
The building is captured, sir. I got the goods.
lay in the foundation.
Loaded with U.S. quality. Serving our country.
I want to blow
Need a
something up.
delivery
Assuming
general?
that's a
Sure
T2.
thing. Enabling
Oh,
laser
signing
sights.
for
Upgrade
this.
complete.
Clocked in.
Loaded with U.S. quality.
Unit lost.
New construction?
Flashbangs are ready.
Something for everyone.
Lay in the foundation.
Let me launch one. Yeah.
Want to make some improvements? Lay in the foundation.
Unit
Let me
lost.
launch one.
Clocked in.
I'll fire it anyway. Yeah. Let's pop some tanks.
Yeah, I'll
Let
fix
me
it.
launch one. I'll fire at anything. Here comes
Want to make some
trouble.
improvement? New construction? Lay in the foundation. Clocked in.
Let me launch one. Huh? Yeah.
The building is ours. Always prepared.
Buck it up.
Special
We have their
forces
building.
here. Heading out. What's
I'll
the mission,
fire
sir?
at my missile launcher right here.
Humvee here.
I want to blow something up. Let me launch
Laser
one.
guidance
What's
ready.
the mission,
I'll
sir?
fire
Laser
any more
guidance ready
projects.
here.
Ready for action. Rally point confirmed.
I want laser guidance ready.
Special forces here.
Let's pop some
New
tanks.
construction?
Got my missile launcher right here. Here comes trouble.
Got room for five. Looks like a good run. Buck it up. Humvee here. Let's go.
I want to blow something up.
Any more projects?
Yeah.
Always ready.
Need a point, man?
Lay in the
Got my
Special
foundation.
forces here.
right here.
Always ready.
Ready
Buck it
for
up.
action.
New construction?
How about a lift? Oh, be careful
What's
now.
the story?
Got my missile launcher
On the
right
job.
here.
Humvee here.
Let's pop some
Got room
tanks.
for five. Oh, yeah.
New
Buck it up.
construction?
How about Let's go for it. Serving our country. Let's go for
Need
it.
a point, man?
Humvee here.
I want to blow something up.
Let's build.
Yeah, precise. And laser
Let's
guidance
go
ready.
for it.
I want
Unit
to
lost.
enable laser sights.
Come on in. Keep it safe.
Congratulations, John. You have been promoted.
Humvee here.
Always prepared.
Projects? Have a job for me?
Hey, how about it at our new zone?
Unit
What's
lost.
the story? Good
Got room
area.
for five. Oh, yeah. Need a delivery, General?
Our building is being captured.
This is not
Microwave
making
weapons cleared
sense.
for battle.
Oh,
Come on in.
Our building is
Chew
being
on name.
captured.
Humvee
Unit
here.
lost.
Come on in. Whoa.
Who needs help?
Humvee here. Whoa.
Low power.
On the job.
General, they've stolen our building.
Right here.
Humvee here.
Upgrade
I'll
complete.
fire it in there. Got my
should be
missile
fun.
launcher right here.
Microwave emitter's ready.
How about a lift?
Got my missile launcher right here.
Be careful now. Come on in.
Palace.
Got my missile launcher
Let's go for it. Looks like a good run. Be careful now.
Congratulations, General. You have been promoted.
Break it loose. Oh yeah.
Unit lost.
Let's go for it. Come on. Come on.
Let me launch one.
Medical supplies on hand.
Want to make some improvements?
Deadly efficient.
Unit lost.
How about a lift?
I'll fire it in this
Come on in. Let's go for it.
Laser gun speed on it. I want to blow something up. This will be fun. Right Let's spot see a fireball. I'll fire at anything. Got my missile launcher right here.
Unit lost.
Let's give him an air show.
Let's pop some
Oh
tanks.
yeah. Got room for five.
Medic here.
You want some of this?
Power coupling.
Our Colonel Burton has been detected.
Tomahawk systems online.
What do you got?
Location.
Humvee here. Come on. Let's
Right
go.
here.
Congratulations, General. You have been promoted.
Raptor here.
Unit lost.
Enable laser sights.
What do you got? Needs an attitude.
Long range ballistics.
Yep. We are cruising. Let's mix it up. Little air show for our fans out there.
Over here.
I'll fire at anything.
Come on in.
Tomahawk launcher location ready.
Five. You want some of this? Break it loose.
What's the story?
Nice.
You are victorious. Low power. Unit lost.
Let's pick something old school.
Does it have to be so far? Oh, okay, I will work.
This matchup's pretty imbalanced.
I'm hungry. That was a lot of work. Oh, okay, I will not hurt me. I'm hungry. Yes, this may be painful. What do you want
Upgrade
with
complete.
I will work. I will try to hurry. Cannot we live in peace?
I'll make the sacrifice.
Cannot we live in peace? The building, if that is what you
Cannot
want.
we
live in peace? Yes.
Late
Can
bit
I
on
have
that
some
tunnel.
shoes? Cannot we live in peace?
sacrifice.
I will do what I must. I will work.
We must have
I
justice.
will work.
There's
I'll
a
make a run
forward.
for it.
Building construction has I will obey.
I love
I
a
will
crowd.
work.
I will die for our cause. I know people there.
I
A
will
warrior
work.
has
Yes.
fallen.
Yeah, that's worth it.
I will do the best I can. I will work. There's a lot of work. Building construction
Cannot we
has
live
been
in
completed.
peace?
The tunnels will protect us.
Cannot we live in peace? I will work.
I'll make the sacrifice.
Yes. Our work is
I
complete.
am
What you
prepared.
want?
Our land must be
What
preserved.
do you want with me?
We take what we need. It still runs.
We must have justice. I'll make
What
a
do
run
you
for
want?
it. I must
Our
position
work is
myself well.
Hang on. Guarding the
I think he's
underground.
committing to a licks.
What do you want? We are going.
They
Our
will
clan is
fear
strong.
us.
We are going. Hang on. Our land
I'm gonna
must
take
be
these in
preserved.
case.
I will obey.
We must have justice.
Yes.
A warrior
What do
has
you
fallen.
want? It still runs.
Do not
Our
hurt
clan is
me.
strong.
Don't get on my bad side.
I'm just a peasant. Hungry. Are there not better
We are
tools?
going.
This definitely feels like a looks.
What? Let's make a salvage
Our
run.
work is complete.
Shh! I sense danger maybe near.
I'm hungry.
A warrior has fallen.
Watch your step. Quick,
I will
run
work.
for shelter.
Yeah, he's had to use the looks
I will
to
work.
defend.
What do you want?
The tunnels will protect us.
I will work. I
I
will
think I
work.
just push, honestly.
I sense danger maybe near in the GLA underground. Quick, ready yourselves. You must
Yeah.
be careful.
He's gone back with the looks too.
The enemy may be near.
Oh, I didn't kill that
Ready
tunnel.
yourselves.
Surprising.
I will work. I will obey.
Our land
Building
must be
construction
preserved. We must be careful.
What?
Shh! I sense danger maybe near.
Four on the floor. I'll get there. Stop them dead in their tracks.
Quick, ready yourselves.
Quad cannon.
Guarding the
A
GLA
warrior has
underground.
fallen.
Do not hurt me.
Our land must be preserved. The enemy may be near.
Don't get on my bad
The
side.
tunnels will protect us. Ready
Quad
yourselves.
cannon.
The tunnels will
I'm
protect us.
hungry. I will try to hurry. Oh, okay, I will work.
Yes, yes.
Guarding the GLA underground. I sense danger
Quad
maybe
cannon.
near.
Four on the floor.
Our work is complete.
prepared.
Quick,
I
ready
will
yourselves.
die for our
Get
cause.
them! Get them now! Land must be preserved. We must be careful.
I love a crowd. I'll make the
The
sacrifice.
tunnels will protect us. The land must be preserved.
I will carry as much as I
What?
can.
Shh! I sense danger maybe near.
I will work.
Quick, ready yourselves.
I'm just a peasant. Can I have some shoes? I will work.
I
A
sense
warrior
danger
has
maybe near.
fallen.
Our work is complete. I will work. Do not hurt me.
I do not have patience for this.
I will work.
Quick, ready yourselves. Protect us. The land must be preserved.
I will obey. This is hard work.
die for our cause. What? I'll get there. Start the machinery. I'll get there. Yes, yes.
Quick, ready yourselves. The land must be preserved.
What do you want?
What?
I will obey.
I will die for our cause. I know people there.
Guarding the GLA
A
underground.
warrior has fallen.
Don't get
I'm
on my
hungry.
bad side. They will fear
Our work is complete.
We must have justice.
Our land must be
Our
preserved.
work is
Shh!
complete.
I sense
I'm
danger
just a
maybe near.
peasant. Yes.
Quad cannon. I will die for our cause. They will fear us. I am prepared.
Our work is complete.
Quick, ready
I will
yourselves.
obey. Are there not better tools?
crowd. I'll puncture the next thing that moves. For the cause!
A warrior has fallen.
Four on the floor. They will break and shatter. I will die for our cause. What? Going. I am prepared.
Upgrade complete.
our
What do you want? This is hard work. I
The
am
tunnels will
finished with the
protect us.
business.
Don't get on
Quick,
my bad side.
ready yourselves. Shh! I sense danger maybe near.
I love a crowd.
Yes. Are there not better tools?
They will fear us.
To actually go for
The higher order shall
Quad
reign.
cannon. I'll get there.
A warrior has fallen.
What?
I defend this
Guarding
basically
the GLA underground.
Hold it down and ready.
the game.
It's still run. We fear nothing.
Shh! I sense danger maybe near. Quick, ready yourselves.
We take what we need. It's
A
still
warrior
run.
has fallen.
Hang on. Load it.
I sense danger maybe near.
The
The
building
tunnels will protect us.
I will die for our
I'm
cause.
hungry. That was a lot of
We
work.
are
Four
going.
on the floor.
I'm just a peasant.
What do you want? We are going. Hang on.
Supreme truth. Shh! I sense danger maybe near.
A warrior has fallen.
They are vulnerable. Don't push me. Don't get on my bad side. Going. Quad cannon.
That was a lot of
I
work.
love it. I'll make a run for it.
What do you want with me?
No cost is too great. The next thing that moves.
Yes. I will work.
Our land must be preserved.
Don't get on my blood, son.
I will work.
A warrior has
I
fallen.
will work.
I will die for our cause. Quick, stay close to safety.
I will work. Do not hurt. Cannot we live in peace?
They cannot be protected.
I will
A warrior has fallen.
Should be over.
I will work. I am finished with the business. I will try to
Guarding the
hurry.
GLA underground.
We must have justice.
A warrior has fallen.
Minigunners can get force fired in range if they're vet 1. If it's vet 2, it's usually not possible if the minigunner is paying attention. Or if you just pre-spin up, you can easily avoid the issue.
It will look real nice when it's done.
Oh wow.
Building the Chinese China. China will grow larger.
It's probably a forward war factor.
China has been generous. Construction is real nice when it's done. We will live in prosperity. China. Construction is complete. We have big plans. We'll tear through their armor. Construction is prosperity. China has been generous.
Yeah, it's forward.
Tear through their armor. Enemy tanks out there. Let's pick up some goods. We'll tear through their armor. Building is complete. Build orders complete, sir. I build for China. We will live in prosperity. Let's take a look. Let's pick up some carrying the big enemy tanks out there. We'll tear through their carrying the big gun. Enemy tanks out there. Tank hunter here. I like the big targets. I'm carrying enemy tanks out there.
Yes, data. Relocating. Hey, let's go where the chatter is.
We have big plans.
Adjusting frequency. Moving operations. Yes, data. Moving operations.
I like the big target. Construction is complete.
Moving operations.
I'm carrying we will live in prosperity.
Yes, data. Do you hear something? Do you hear something? Moving operations. Hey, let's go where the chatter is. Moving operations.
Enemy tanks out there. Yes, General.
Unit
I can
lost.
hear them. Do you hear something?
China's rockets over. Dead in their tracks. Attack now. We'll tear through their armor. Get them. Let's build. I like moving
Tune
rocket
into the
launcher.
enemy. Adjusting frequency. You get the location.
I build for China. I build for China.
I think I can hear them. Yes, data.
We'll tear through their armor.
I mean, yeah, it's a very imbalanced matchup, so
We are
what you can
victorious.
do about it.
Unit lost.
Oh boy.
Let's build. New construction, clocked in. Let's build. Clocked in. Let's build. Yeah, getting to work. Let's build. That one's new construction. Always ready. On the job. All finished.
Serving our
job
country.
for me. What's the
Oh,
story?
signing for this. Right on schedule. Keep the supplies rolling. Need a delivery, General?
Yeah. Let's find a better place.
Serving our country. Distribution underway. Oh, signing for this.
He's got a tunnel on
Provisions en
the
route. Everyone out.
one of them sides at least.
Always ready.
Loaded with U.S.
Get back in, get back in.
I'll
Oh,
get
he
it
messed
there.
up. Nice.
Something for everyone.
It's pretty big.
You guys be careful out there.
Laying the foundation. Make
Oh,
my
what?
road. I'll build
Serving
anywhere.
our
It's beyond
country.
ridiculous.
Let's build.
Oh, signing for this.
What's the story?
What is this dozer?
Serving our country.
Unit
Want to make some
lost.
improvements?
Something for everyone.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sacrifice this guy.
Establishing supply route. Humvee here.
Clocked in. Always ready.
Still managed to snuck in.
Keep 'em busy. Keep 'em busy. Getting to work. Getting to work. Make my own road.
Nice.
How about a lift? Come on in. Oh, be careful
Want to
now.
make some improvements? Loud and clear.
Got my missile launcher right here.
Have a job for me?
Got my missile
Unit
launcher
Bring on
lost.
the scaffolding.
Got my missile launcher
Let's go
right
for
here
it.
on the trail.
Come on in.
A lot of it's gonna come down to his follow-up.
Got my
Whoa.
missile launcher right here.
Got room for
I
five.
think he'll go from here.
Need some medical attention?
Got my
How about
missile
a
launcher
lift?
right here.
Boy.
Who needs
Got
help?
room for five.
Right on.
Something for
Got
everyone.
my missile launcher
Whoa.
right here.
Looks like a good run. Serving our
Laying the
country.
foundation.
Humvee here.
Missile launcher right here.
We can take care of you.
Come on in. Break it loose. You want some
Oh,
of this? Humvee here.
barely.
Looks like a good run. Let's go. Something for everyone. Serving our country. Come on in. Humvee here.
Medical supplies on hand.
Come on in. Break it loose. Keep it
What's
safe.
the story?
Buck it up.
Good area.
How about a
We
lift?
can take
Let's
care
go
of you.
for it.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh, be careful now. How about a lift? Come on. Keep the change. Break it loose. Got room
Unit
for five. Come on
lost.
in.
Any more
Let's go
projects?
for it. Humvee here. Come on in.
That's
Buck it up. Got room for five. Come on in. How about a lift? Come on in. Break it loose. Humvee here. How about a lift? Got room for five. Looks like a good run.
Got my missile launcher right here.
Come on in.
Yeah.
How about a lift? Whoa!
Got my missile
Humvee
launcher
here.
right here.
How about a lift? Keep the change. You want some of this? Come on in.
Let's pop some tanks. Got
Got
my
room
missile
for
launcher
five.
right
Humvee
here.
here. Whoa!
The battlefield is a messy place.
Yeah.
General, our base is under attack.
Army's
Low
taking
power.
Come on in.
Special
Got room
forces
for
here.
five. Come on
I'll
in.
fire at anything.
Humvee here. Whoa! Ready for action. Got room for five. Humvee here. Oh yeah. Whoa! Come on in. You want some of this? Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Missile launcher right here.
How about a lift?
Medical
Got
supplies
room for
on
five.
hand.
Let's go for it. You want some of this? Come on in. Looks like a good run. Whoa! Whoa, be careful now. Let's go. Break it loose. Humvee here. Five. Whoa, be careful now. Whoa, be careful now. Oh yeah. Rip it up. Rip it up. It should be fun. Humvee here. Looks like a good run.
Special forces
Always
here.
prepared. Come on in. Humvee here. Break it loose. Whoa!
Need a point man? Special forces
Come on
here.
in.
Laying the foundation. Let's find a better place.
Humvee here. Oh yeah. Got room for five. Loaded with
Want to
U.S.
make some
quality.
improvements?
Would
Break
be
it loose.
fatal
I'll
potentially.
fire at anything. Guidance ready.
I got Resuming supply chain. How about a lift? Got room for
Let me
five.
launch one.
Break it loose.
Unit lost.
Come on in.
Upgrade complete.
Let's go for it. That's like a good run. Our new zone. It
We can take care of you.
Got room for five. Let's go for it. Let's go. Keep the change.
Who needs help?
Ready for action.
I'll fire at anything.
Looks like a good run. Break it loose. Break it loose. You want some of this?
Congratulations, General. You have been promoted.
Need a point, man?
Humvee here. Got room for 5.
Got my missile launcher right here.
Humvee here. How about a lift?
Got my missile launcher
Break
right
it
here.
loose. Break it loose. Whoa. Looks like a good run.
Unit lost.
Let's go for it. Let's go for it. Humvee here. Humvee here.
I want to name some laser sights.
Let's go for it. Humvee here. Come on in. Humvee here. Whoa. Oh, be careful now.
Medical supplies on hand.
Humvee here.
Medic
Unit
here.
lost.
Let's clean it up.
Heading over.
Ah, he got the
It's a
tunnel
messy
up.
place.
I need to pay attention.
Let me launch one.
Medic
Got
here.
my missile launcher right here.
Detox underway.
I'll fire at anything.
Oh, sign it
Humvee
right
here. Oh,
Who
yeah.
needs help?
U.S. quality.
Chew on these.
Got my missile launcher right here.
Keep it safe. Oh, sign in for this.
Move! What a mess. Lives are at stake.
How about a lift? Laters.
Who needs help?
Unit lost.
U.S. quality.
Medic here.
Congratulations, General.
Keep
You
it
have
safe.
been promoted.
Right on schedule.
Got my missile launcher right here.
Lives are at stake.
I've lost that.
Come on in.
Got my missile launcher right here.
Something for
Humvee here.
everyone.
I want to blow something Let's pop some
How about a
tanks.
lift? Let's go
Loaded
for
with
it.
Unit
U.S.
lost.
quality.
Missile launcher right here.
Provisions en route.
Come on in.
Got my
Humvee
missile
here.
launcher right here.
Oh, sign in for this. I'll get it there.
Buck it up.
Everyone out.
How about a lift? Break it loose. Humvee here. Come on in. Whoa.
I got the
Got
goods.
room for 5.
Pretty lucky.
Rip it up. Humvee here. How about a lift? Let's go. Humvee here. Whoa. Come on in.
Unit
I'll
lost.
fire at anything.
Humvee here.
Let's pop some
Something
tanks.
for everyone.
Come on in. Rip it up. You want some of this?
Let's build.
Humvee here.
I'll fire at anything.
Yeah.
Laser guidance
Got room
ready.
for 5.
Yeah? Want to see a fireball?
Humvee here. Whoa.
I want to blow some laser
Got room
guidance
for
ready.
5. Break it loose.
I'll fire at anything. Laser guidance
Humvee
ready.
here. Oh, be careful now.
I want to blow some laser
Unit
sights.
lost.
How about a lift? Oh, be careful now. Got room for 5.
Yeah, lighting this tunnel up was a mistake.
You are
I also could
victorious.
have power dropped a Ranger on that oil. But I barely scrapped it up.
We will live in prosperity.
Talks. Okay.
China has been generous. We will live in prosperity. Let's take a look. We have big plans. China has been generous. We will live in prosperity. Construction, we have big plans, General. Let's take a look. China will grow larger. We will live in prosperity. Construction location. Construction is complete.
We are pretty busy here. Our supplies over there. Let's pick up some shortcut.
Building is complete.
Where do you want these? Is this a shortcut? Let's pick up some goods.
Let's build.
There is much money to be made.
We are pretty busy here. Where is the nearest depot?
We have big plans. China will grow larger. Tank hunter here.
Let's pick up some. This is tight schedule. We are pretty busy. Where do you want these?
Enemy tanks out there.
We are pretty busy.
China's rocket
This
soldiers.
is tight schedule. Where is the pretty busy here. Resuming the supply routes.
Big gun.
There is much money to be here.
We will live in prosperity.
We gotta
There is much money to
sack
be
one
here.
truck.
This is tight schedule.
Enemy tanks out there. Built for China.
What do you have in mind?
China's rocket soldiers. I like the big targets.
Make it worth my time.
Tank hunter here. On the hunt.
What do you have in mind? Let's hold these
It's
guns.
tech RPG.
Take it over there for now. We're going to ruin somebody's day. Something down there have big plans. Yeah. What? Where do you want these? We are pretty busy. What do you have in mind? Something down there.
Through their armor.
Let's hold these guns.
We'll
Quite a
tear
few
through their armor.
RPGs.
We're going to ruin somebody's day.
The enemy.
We're going to ruin somebody's day. You have a target for me. What do you have in mind? Helix on the sea. Let's hold these guns. Pull no stops.
Unit lost.
Don't know if that was worth it.
Install the bunker. We have big plans.
Ah, I didn't see that. That's bad.
We'll tear through their armor. We'll tear through China's rocket soldiers. Complete, sir.
Make it worth my time.
If I didn't lose that supply,
Is ready.
I would say this was okay.
Making a flyby. Helix on the sea. Let's pick up some goods. Something down
Nah, this is
there.
GG. Oh man, I shouldn't have traded looks. That was bad.
Do not hurt me. This hammer is heavy. I'm just a peasant.
It's your light mirror.
I will work. What do you want with me? Are there not better tools? I have some shoes. Does it have to be so far? I will cannot we live in peace? There are mines out there.
Upgrade complete.
I will work. I will obey. I will do the best I can. I will work. Oh, okay, I will work. There's not enough room for that building. If that is what you want, building construction has been completed. That building cannot fit there. I will obey. I'm just a peasant. Do not hurt me. That building cannot fit there.
I am prepared.
I will work. I will obey.
Don't know if that box is good.
That is a lot of work.
I will die for our cause.
I will work. I am building construction has been completed. What do you want with me? That was a lot of I'm just a peasant.
Quick, ready yourself. The GLA underground.
It's a lot of supplies. I will obey. I will work. I am finished. I'm just a peasant. It's a lot of work. What do you want with me? Our work is complete.
Our land must be preserved. Shh! I sense danger maybe
I'm
near.
hungry.
Let's
I'm
go
just
car
a
shopping.
peasant.
Upgrade complete.
I can drive anything.
I will work.
The tunnels will protect us.
Oh, okay, I will work.
Warrior has fallen.
See?
Ready for war.
Upgrade complete.
Yes, I know. What do
I
you
sense
want?
danger maybe near. Guarding the GLA underground. Let's get in there.
What?
What do you want with me?
Oh, he went for his own oil grab.
We'll break
Wow.
him down. Make him be recycled. Out of my vehicle, all of you.
I
Don't
sense
let them
danger.
get away.
Expect anything.
I will work. Cannot
Our
we live
clan
in
is strong.
peace?
What do you
A
want?
warrior has fallen.
Our
Upgrade
courage will be
complete.
seen by all. Ready for war. No cost is too great.
Silence.
Ready yourself. Both the town is ready. We fear nothing. Tunnels will protect us. Our clan is strong. Quick, ready yourself. Let's get in the fight. Yes, I know. Find me a crash site. Load it. What do you
Oh
want?
my god, I'm messing up this deck.
Find me a crash site.
Oh, okay, I will work.
Our clan is strong. Yes, I know. We take what we need.
Cannot we live in peace?
Let's get in the fight. Load it. What do you want? We are going.
I will
Let's
work.
get in the fight. Let's fight.
Oh,
What do you want?
okay,
What?
I will work.
Let's do some body
I
work.
will work.
Load it. Our clan is strong.
A warrior has fallen.
We take what we need. What?
And it
Yes,
detonated.
I know.
That's sad.
Load it. Hang on. Our courage will be seen by all. Nothing. Find me a crash site. Quad cannon. Let's get in the fight. What's in it for
A
me?
warrior has
we fear
fallen.
nothing. We take what we need. Yes, I know. Our way is
Our
through.
work is complete.
Ready or safe in there. Guarding the GLA underground. Let's get in there.
What? I do not have patience for this. Don't get on my
Our
bad
clan
side.
is strong.
get any
Prepare to fight. What?
A warrior
We
has
take what we
fallen.
need. Quad cannon.
I'm loading way too much.
Yes. Oh, okay, I will work. Yes. I will work.
I am
Construction
prepared.
has been
Let's get
completed.
in the fight.
I will
Don't
work.
get
What
on
do
my
you
bad
want with
side.
me? I will work.
We take what we need.
have captured the building.
Our clan is strong. Let's fight. The way is clear.
Do not hurt me. I'm
We
just a
fear
peasant.
nothing. We take what we need. What? Our clan is strong. We fear nothing. What do you want? Load it! It's the
Arlo's
run.
cooking.
Everybody
A
hide.
warrior has fallen.
They are vulnerable. I will die for our cause.
We take what we
I
need.
will obey.
Our clan is strong.
Our land.
I'm just a
We take what
peasant.
we need. Find me a crash site. We are going. Let's do some body
I
work.
am finished with
Find
the
me a
business.
crash
I
site.
will obey. What do you want with me? A warrior has
No
fallen.
Our clan is
Our
strong.
way is guarding the GLA underground. Let's give them dirt.
I ride
The tunnels will protect
I
us.
will obey. I'm just a peasant. What do you want with me? Our work is
A warrior has fallen.
Four on the floor. Stop them dead in their tracks. Start the machinery.
Yes.
What? I'll get there.
I am waiting.
Four on the floor.
He's definitely not pushing
I'll
this.
get there.
Not yet, at least.
A warrior has fallen.
New spotting position.
I do not have patience for this.
No one escapes.
What?
They will be humiliated. Very I do. Some dirt. Our land must be preserved.
Well done, gents. You have reached a higher rank.
Get on my
A
back.
warrior has fallen.
Let's get
Oh, he actually got it.
They are brittle.
No one escapes.
Four on the floor.
I hear him.
Start the machinery.
Also, that gives me
Come
XP.
along with us.
Are there not better
Okay,
tools?
now, where are we going next? They will break and shatter. Four on the floor.
No one escapes.
What? I'll get them. Stop them dead in their tracks. Begin stitching.
Quick, ready yourself.
What do
A
you want?
warrior has fallen.
Four on the floor. Stop them dead in their tracks. I'll get there. I do not have patience for this. Don't get on my bad side. Begin stitching.
Our Jarman camp has been seen by the enemy.
I'll get there.
Preparing my tools.
Do not hurt
We
me.
take what we need.
We
I'll
have
get
more
there.
than one escapes.
Four on the floor. Punch it.
General! Our land is under attack!
What?
Well done, gents. You have reached a higher
Get on
rank.
my bad side.
Yes, if that
Quad
is
cannon.
what you want. Our work is complete.
What do you want?
Yes! Attacking!
A warrior has fallen.
4 on the floor. I do not have patience for this. Let's fight.
Yes.
We will need more
I'm
funds,
hungry.
General.
I am actually quite low on money.
I will go. I will work.
clan
Upgrade
is strong.
complete.
I'm just a peasant. I will work. I will work.
Preparing my tools.
I will work. What do you want? I will work. I will work. Oh, okay, okay. I will work. I will work.
Huh? They are brittle.
No one escapes.
I'm just a peasant.
Prepare to fight.
Lurking eyes.
Right, everybody out! We are going.
I hear you. I am waiting.
I am finished with the business.
What?
Okay.
Don't
here I
get
go.
on my
A warrior has fallen.
Don't push me.
I will
Okay,
work.
now, where are we going next? What?
I will work. I'm just a peasant.
Let's get in the fight. Load it!
I will work.
Don't get on my bad
I
side.
am
Upgrade
finished with the
complete.
business. I'm hungry.
Tunnels will protect us. What?
I will work.
It still runs. Load it! Load it!
A warrior has fallen.
I hear you.
I will obey. Are there not better tools? I will try to hurry.
I will make my
Oh,
Building belongs to us.
that was very close.
Take them out of our path. Okay, now, where are we going?
Bad timing.
You, out of my bus. Shh, I sense
A
danger.
warrior has fallen.
Yes, kick up the dirt.
Building construction
Good.
has been
How
completed.
boring.
Cannot we live in peace?
What is it? Step on the gas! What is it? Attacking! Yes, I am going. My tools.
I'm just a peasant.
What is it?
Well done, General. You have reached a higher rank.
Rocket barrage ready.
A warrior has fallen.
Get on my bad side.
What is it?
I do not have patience for this. My plan will do.
I ride alone. The enemy may be near. Rocket barrage ready.
A warrior has fallen.
I am going. Aye! Guarding the GLA underground. Over there. I ride alone. Get off
Building
my trail.
construction has been completed.
Dive! No one escapes. Who's the target?
You there, come along with us.
see what they are up to.
Our work is complete. Cannot we live in peace? I will obey. I will try
4
to
on the
hurry.
floor. Huh? Go.
I hear you. I will slip in.
What
Anything
gun?
else?
Construction has been
Don't
completed.
push me.
We have 80 rockets now.
We are upgrading to armor
Spotting
4 on the
position.
floor. Start the machinery. Don't get on my
Roads?
bad
How
side.
boring.
Going. I'll get there. They are brittle. What? Don't
A
get on
warrior
my bad
has
side.
fallen.
What gun?
Yes. It will be
Get on
humiliating.
my bad side.
Rocket barrage ready.
Okay, okay, I will work.
I ride alone.
Do not hurt me.
I will make my own
I
path.
am finished.
What
with
is
the
it?
business.
Dive! I am going. I am going. Leave them in the dust.
Might be too
Get
slow.
off my trail. Step on the
What
gas.
gun on?
We're very close
Roads?
to.
How
A
boring.
warrior has
What
fallen.
is it? I sense danger. Rocket barrage
Hey,
ready.
be careful with
How
your
boring. I am going.
Okay, now,
Yes.
where are we going next?
Of
Ow.
course. Our land
Over there.
must be preserved.
Don't get on my bad
That
side.
is a lot
hear
of
you.
work.
I will slip in.
I'm just a peasant. I'm hungry. That's a lot of supplies.
I am waiting.
I will work.
I move in the shadows.
You there,
I
come
will
along.
work.
A warrior
That
has
is a lot
fallen.
of work.
Bit overkill on this part.
Shh. I sense
Stay
danger.
close
may
to
be near.
safety. The tunnels
Okay,
will
now,
protect
where are
us.
we going next?
Stay close to safety.
I will make my own path. Rocket barrage
Quad
ready.
gun on.
This hammer is heavy.
What? I do not have patience for this.
Upgrade complete.
Be careful with your boat.
What do you want with me?
A warrior has fallen.
Get on my
Oh
bad
my
side.
god.
Don't get on my bad side.
We have discovered an enemy Jarman camp.
Enemy may be near. What is it? I am going.
Quad gun,
Yes.
I'll get there.
What's the job?
Punch it. Okay, now, where are we going next? Begin stitching.
Let's get
Touch the machinery. They will break and shatter.
The warrior has fallen.
Don't
I
push
will
me.
make my own path. Roads,
I'll
how
get there.
boring.
Yes,
What
yes.
is it? Step on the gas. Leave them in the dust. Step on the gas. They will be humiliated. They will be humiliated.
The warrior has fallen.
I am going.
Going. 4 on the floor.
Junk repair
Yes.
upgrade
I
has
ride
been
alone.
installed.
Leave them in the dust. I am going. Leave them in the dust. Die. They will be humiliated.
Quad cannon.
Roads, how boring. Leave them in the dust.
The
I
warrior
wait for
has
you.
fallen.
Get off my trail. Die. All right, let's go. Of course.
Do not hurt me.
Rocket barrage ready. They will be humiliated. All right, let's go.
Camo netting has arrived.
I'm just a peasant. I will obey. Are there not better tools? I am finished with the building. Oh, okay, I will work.
Preparing my
Camo netting
tools.
has arrived.
Okay, over there.
Let's kick
Watch
some
your
dirt, some
step.
dirt. I ride alone. I will make my own path. Yes, I wait for you.
No one escapes.
Upgrade complete.
Roads, how boring.
You there, let's go along.
What is it?
I'll get there.
I sense danger may be near.
The warrior has fallen.
Okay, now,
Yes,
where are we going next?
I am
Hey,
going.
hey, be careful with the upholstery.
I hear the target.
What is it?
Indeed.
I am going. Get off my trail. They will be
Okay, now, where are we
humiliated.
going next? Let's go now.
Rocket barrage
Hey,
ready.
be careful with the upholstery.
I will make my own
You there,
path.
come along. We'll get there soon.
Roads, how boring.
Ah, yes, we'll take this. Get your weapons ready.
Yes,
I am waiting.
Okay, now, where are we going next?
guarding the GLA
I sense
underground.
danger may
Warrior
be near.
has fallen.
Roads, how boring. Let's kick up some
I'm
dirt,
just
some
a
dirt.
peasant. Cannot we live in peace? I will obey.
Well done,
What is it?
gentlemen. You have reached a higher rank.
Get on my
Rocket barrage
backside.
ready.
No one escapes.
We have discovered an enemy Jarman camp.
Anything else?
I will make my own path. Kick up some dirt. Yes,
I am waiting. Anything else?
Warrior
I will
has
make my
fallen.
own
Burying
path.
my tools.
Yes,
4 on the floor.
I ride alone.
Here goes the target. Indeed.
What is it?
I am waiting.
Roads,
Indeed.
how boring.
Preparing my tools. Anything else?
I ride alone. Roads, how boring.
protect us.
Quad cannon.
Must be preserved.
What is it? It is my duty.
Yes. Do not hurt me. I will obey. It's a lot of work.
Don't get on my
Cannot
bad
we
side.
live in peace? This is hard work.
us.
Rocket barrage ready.
Yes.
Camo netting has
I
arrived.
will work. Building construction has been completed.
No one escapes. Indeed.
Yes, they will be humiliated.
Do not hurt me.
I ride alone.
There's the bait.
I hear you.
Huh?
I will make my own path.
Warrior has fallen.
Quad cannon.
Guarding the GLA underground.
Finished with the building. I will obey.
Roads, how boring. What is it? I am going. Step on the gas. I am going. They will be humiliated. It is my duty.
A warrior has fallen.
Leave them in the dust. Die.
What?
I am finished with the building. I'm just a peasant.
I will make my own path.
What do you want with me?
Nice. Oh, crash. See. Well, let's crash. I might end the stream at that, to be honest, because it is a little bit late. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream. It's almost been 4 hours, so yeah, I'm just gonna call off the stream for now. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and take care.